Emergency. Emergency.
Disease is spreading. There is an outbreak. We must quarantine ourselves. How do we get out of these trying times, one is to ask. Why'd you stop your do-to-dos? One, how does one get out of these trying times? One must escape to a fantasy world, a world unlike our own, by request of myself and one other.
Shout out to Sawyer.
We're gonna get Jellicle, baby. Jellicles can, and Jellicles do. Tom Hooper's Cats.
Cue the music. Missed you boys so much.
I missed you too.
We've missed you
So much.
I'm Jesse.
Brandon,
I'm Frank.
This is the Crown of Canon.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I want to say welcome back, but there's no break for you. It's only been a break for us.
And maybe this is the first time you're listening, so if it is, welcome to the Crown of Canon.
You know, last time you said that, it was on Raging Bull, and it was somebody's first time listening, and they felt special. They told me.
No shit.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, good to know
So-
I can make someone's day.
Now you, our special new listener, welcome to our cult.
well,
And speaking of cults,
The
we're
Chronic
talking
Cult.
about a movie today
Yeah,
that's pretty jellical.
it's a horror film.
Yes. First things first, we're smoking movies and we're talking weed.
That's true.
We're live in our ears, not in yours.
Pretty close this time, though.
Yeah, for the first
And-
time.
If you don't like heat, get
Yeah.
out now.
You gotta go.
You know the drill if you've been here before.
If you've never seen it, that's okay. You can stay.
But you should make that a priority to
Yeah.
see it as soon as possible.
I would say add it to your list. That's for sure.
Like
Why
tomorrow.
not? Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, what do you... Val Kilmer.
He's in it.
The guy's been slept on. Let's be real.
We are
Let's
the
be-
Sassy Safdie-Sese Stans, just so you know.
Was that right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Sassy Safdie.
Sassy Safdie-Sese Stans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scorsese.
Sassy. Remember that.
Sassy.
Yeah.
You know, everyone gets it wrong. Even like,
Other
official-
podcasters.
not just podcasters, but like filmmakers and everybody in interviews. Though.
Even Marty.
No, not Marty. De Niro
Oh, really?
in an interview said Scorsese.
Then again,
He probably
we
The
doesn't know.
Actors Roundtable.
we are not podcasters.
No, we're podcasters.
We're podcasters.
Hey, that was nice.
We're pot stickers.
Less nice.
No good?
It was fine.
Okay.
Not as good as that opening.
Hey, yeah, that opening was solid gold.
Fully authentic.
I want to acknowledge it. I'm sorry.
Hey, I mean, this is a special episode, right? Because
Yeah.
we're not talking about Scorsese.
Yeah, for the first
No,
time.
Scorsese.
Taking a little break from Sassy.
Yeah, because we have been in quarantine, and this is the first
Like,
time we've been
hopefully
able
all
to
of you.
publicly acknowledge it. Yeah, like
Mhm.
hopefully all of you have been as well,
Mm-hmm.
abiding by the stay-at-home orders and whatnot. And I'm sorry if you've been protesting the stay-at-home order, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Don't
You
listen
also
to my
gotta go.
I don't.
fucking podcast.
You also have to go, and I don't even care if you like heat.
Yeah. That trumps it in this
That literally
situation.
does trump it in this situation. People are dying. Okay, next.
You know what else people die in? Heat.
And cats.
It all
Technically-
comes
Honestly,
together.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that probably.
Cat is heat. Every time we talk about heat, we might be talking about cats.
Who's we? I'm Jesse.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Frank.
Cool.
Chronic Canon.
So we are recording together for the first time in 2 months? I don't even know.
I don't think it's been 2. I think it's been 1.
Well,
Like one full.
I think
maybe
we
of some
recorded-
change.
2 episodes in April. Like the first 2 weeks of April.
that sounds kind of right. I don't know. Actually, no, that's not right at all. I've been quarantined the whole month of April.
The whole month of April?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It started to end at March. So it's been a while.
It has been a minute.
So this is our first time that we're going to be right in your ears pretty much live
Yeah.
in both.
Like a few days ahead.
Yeah.
That's it.
So the next 3 episodes you hear were all recorded in one day. So we apologize if it falls apart. And if you only listen to this one, I guess ignore all that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
We're
This might be
relatively
the best.
relatively fresh. I got some sleep last night.
The drunk sleep is the best sleep. You just kind of like go into a coma. I don't even remember like the latter half of the
Yeah.
night. So I'm feeling pretty okay.
I decided not to shower before this podcast. Decided to keep it dirty.
It does
For
take
Tom.
place in the streets.
Yeah, and in the dirty streets of London, if you could call it that. I don't even fucking know.
It
I've
is.
never been to London, so I can't know for
Well,
sure if it's
yeah,
an
me
accurate
neither.
depiction
I-
in any sense.
I'm sure it isn't. I doubt this movie was going for
Realism?
capturing London.
Oh, see, that's why I thought it failed. I thought it was trying to be realistic.
So we're talking cats. Special episode.
Yes.
Hello. I don't remember how to do this.
We're going to get back into the groove, just like cats do. I guess we can start from the beginning.
I guess. It's
You
not-
see people, like humans.
Yeah.
It's weird.
One old lady and her leg. Have you all seen Cats?
Well, I guess we should discuss how we watched Cats because it's
Yeah,
been a
yeah,
minute
yeah.
since we've watched it. Normally, in the case of these podcasts, we would have watched the movie at least a week or so beforehand
Mhm.
to be somewhat fresh on the subject. But we
Usually
watched
together.
Cats on Board Games Cat Saturday, and that was
Right before quarantine.
like literally right before.
The weekend before.
Mm-hmm.
The Saturday before the stay-at-home order was made official,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, yeah. And Brandon was asleep through most of it. I think he made it through the first 30 minutes. But I'd say that that's really all that it's worth at the end of the day on my end. But I know that I'm in the minority. We've figured that out by now if we've listened to this podcast enough times.
No, it is incredibly long. Like, that's a fact.
You know,
It's like,
I
I
will
can't
say
deny
this.
it.
Not as grueling as New York, New York.
Oh, that's the dumbest thing you've ever
I
said.
am actually going to have to disagree with you.
I'm shocked.
I would rather sit down
Madman.
and watch Nyek Nyek before I sit down and like watch Cats again. I didn't watch
Given
it
your
again
insane
yesterday.
praise for this movie, that surprises me. But anyway,
It's-
go
and
on.
Because when I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. But I'm able to think about it in chunks. I don't have to sit there for two. Like, you can only be a crazed fan for so long. I think it's like
Yeah.
45 minutes of like, holy shit, and then another like hour of like, all right, and then it's like the last like 15, 20 minutes. It's like, oh, what the fuck are you guys doing? I mean, the whole time it's like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's like,
You
hurry
become
up.
numb to it.
It's
at
like
a
if you
point.
try to show a normie Miami Vice, the first 20
A
minutes
normie.
fuck, and then all of a sudden it descends into
falls
madness.
apart.
In the best possible way for anybody listening that loves Miami Vice like we do.
Yeah.
We were
What?
just discussing this passionately before the podcast, so.
In the first viewing in the theaters, I was ramped up the whole time. I
Miami
was just
Vice?
like,
You saw it in theaters?
no, I'm talking about Cats.
Yeah,
We're
movie on
not
hand.
talking about Miami Vice.
I wish. Try to derail it.
One day. Right now we're talking cats. Those
'Cause
felines.
We're
'Cause we
finally
got 'em.
talking Cats.
Yeah.
In
Finally talking
full.
Cats.
In the buff. The butthole cut.
We, I wish.
Straight
that was
up.
real.
I mean, it is real. We just haven't seen it.
And
It's
it wasn't literal buttholes, but it
Mhm.
kind of looked like it.
I mean,
so
if it looks like it.
that means there's
Good
a
enough.
butthole
If the
cut.
glove fits, it must.
Good enough.
Yeah, Brandon and I saw it in theaters back in December.
And I think the first viewing is really where you're gonna get a lot of like your praise and amaze, because I don't know, they're like, if you're expecting anything, it's gonna subvert that. It's because it doesn't do anything that a movie's supposed to do.
The dynamic between the people discussing this movie here is there's a first wave of Cats viewers, i.e., Frank and Brandon. So right before any of the true hype could have been built up or built down. If that makes any sense?
No, I mean I had a stinky reputation already.
I was probably third, fourth wave of reading articles, reviews, video essays,
Did you
know.
watch a video essay about cats?
I mean, something like a couple CGI things
Oh, okay.
and stuff. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
funny things.
yeah.
But I was definitely hype by the point that I watched this movie, and I think that hype ultimately made it less crazy. I expected more crazy. I think the only thing that's truly crazy is the length. Like, wow, we're really still going, huh?
It's an hour and 50 minutes.
Wild to
It's
me.
crazy. I have now seen it 3 times. Every time I've technically liked it more.
The
but
Holy
I,
Trinity.
But I do 100% feel the taxing nature of its length. It is a lot.
It didn't feel that bad when I was watching it, but then again, it was my first time, so I guess that proves your theories.
I don't know. The first time I saw it, I was like, that both felt like it flew by and lasted an eternity. It's just like, it's hell. It's like you're watching hell.
Like, it makes you like try to treat it so seriously.
Brandon suggested rewatching it last night because he wanted to before this podcast, and I just blatantly refused.
Yeah, I've gotten my fill at 3. It'll be a couple years before I come back, but I
Mhm.
will always hold a special place in my heart for this movie.
I'll never forget the jellicleness.
I think that weed definitely helps.
Yeah.
We,
Oh,
didn't-
yeah.
we have not mentioned that weed is involved. I think
It's
if you're
called the chronic,
if you're in the
canon.
know and you know what the chronic is, then
If
you might.
If
you
you're
might have
listening to this
included
podcast, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we've also called it a podcast.
so many times.
I just feel like you would have at least clicked on the logo. Like,
there's a weed leaf.
There's a weed leaf.
Yeah.
All right, for real, if you didn't catch all that and you're still here and you're against weed,
Probably shouldn't be here.
Just proves you're a dummy.
I was just gonna say if you don't smoke weed,
Just
that's
kidding.
fine.
That is literally.
If you
fine.
haven't seen Heat and you don't smoke weed, that's fine. You can
Yeah.
keep listening.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
we're not gonna say every.
But if you protested the stay-at-home order
Yeah.
and you don't like Heat,
yes,
get the fuck out.
you
goodbye.
gotta go.
That's where I'm discriminating against. That was not English.
Straight up.
All right, we got to talk about this shitstorm of a movie. As a person who has defended it and pushed for this episode, I understand, I being frank,
I'm Jesse.
Brandon.
I understand that this is not a quote unquote good movie.
No.
But the thing that fascinates me is that it is literally like nothing else. Like, you can't compare it to other movie musicals. Really, like, obviously you can in song and dance comparisons, but the way it functions, or any comedy because it's so serious, or any horror movie because I don't think it's aware that it's a horror movie, and also the fact that this is like a Tom Hooper dream project and not like a studio being like, hey, you made Les Mis, you want to do Cats now?
If you would have told me in 2010, after
Right.
walking out of the King's speech and going, well, that was fine. And then someone goes, hey, you know what? That guy is going to make Cats one day. And I already have my ideas of what Cats is because, for the record, I've never seen the Broadway
Oh, yeah,
musical.
me neither.
Only really ever heard memories prior to this, too. Maybe
Same.
I've heard like
I also-
rumblings of Rum Tum Tugger
Right,
and
I knew
other
the name
characters,
Rum Tum Tugger.
but that's it.
Yeah.
I knew very little about Cats, but my theater teacher was a very big fan of the musical.
Yeah, I forgot
So
about that.
Andrew Lloyd Webber can lick me. I
Yeah.
don't like his music.
Over
So-
this quarantine,
or his lyrics.
over this quarantine, Bridget had us watch Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
The Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat?
Oh yeah, like
Okay.
a version with Donny Osmond.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
a movie.
Is that
It's
the 70s or 80s?
90s,
No,
maybe
shit.
2000.
Wow, so Donnie's getting a little old.
It's terrible.
I
and
believe it.
What it made me realize is that it's still like fun for. It's like this. It's fun for like a half hour, and it's like, what is this? And then
Okay.
it's just boring. So I think it proves Andrew Lloyd Webber sucks.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
Yes.
hasn't he done something really good?
Phantom of the
Phantom
Opera,
which
Phantom
is
of the
not
Opera.
good.
Oh,
Is that English?
it's boring.
I mean, I
Evita.
haven't seen it. Evita?
Evita is good.
Lolita?
No,
I thought that was a
Evita.
Stanley Kubrick movie.
stop it.
Did Andrew Lloyd
I
Webber
know
do the
things.
Sunset Boulevard version? Broadway too?
I don't know.
Broadway version? That was dyslexic.
Yeah, welcome to the club. This
We
is what
haven't
does.
spoken in weeks.
Yeah,
I do feel like I'm going crazy, so give me a break.
Most
is-
of my correspondence with Frank has been via Skype at work. So
Oh, wait, the quote. Tom Hooper. He said when he saw Cats on Broadway as like an 8-year-old, he knew he wanted to figure out how to make that into a movie.
So this is his passion
This is-
project.
and
his magnum
this-
opus.
Is what the product was. And I think that is a crazy thing to sit and marvel at.
So think about the fact that Stanley Kubrick made Barry Lyndon so he could make Napoleon.
Right.
Tom Hooper made Les Miserables
So he can make
so he could make Cats.
Pisses
Think about
me
how
off.
that's the example. Like, look at this now, Jellicle Cats. Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Taylor Swift, James Corden,
Where do we start?
Rebel Wilson.
Do we run down the plot?
I mean,
Character
there's
by
no
character?
plot. There's
Character
really,
by
Listen,
character.
unless
Listen.
you know the chronological order of the
Hey.
characters, then I would say
Listen.
we could just rattle off our
Here
little,
is
our little
what
anecdotes about the
the
movie.
folks need to know. The reason that the movie is happening is because there is a Jellicle ball. There is a cult of cats who all
Well, they never
are-
call it a cult explicitly.
I am calling it a cult.
I just
And
wanna
anyone
point
who
that out in the movie.
disagrees can go to 420 Avenue and fight me at the Chronic Canon headquarters, okay? It's a cult of cats who all wish to be Jellicle so they could go to the heavy side layer,
Uh-huh.
which is heaven, because they're going to kill whoever wins the Jellicle ball. This is unbeknownst to all as you're watching it.
Oh, yeah. To us, the audience.
well,
All
I
the
re-
cats are in on it.
All cats are fucking
Except
digging it,
Victoria.
which is why the movie starts. New cat is introduced, and now we have eyes to view this new world.
To be clear, the killing themselves is so they can be reborn into a better life.
Yes.
There's at least like a fake
A
thing
reason.
to dangle.
You know, I don't think
They're
they,
not just like, kill me, please.
I don't think they mention it, but don't cats have 9 lives?
They do kind of, in one of the songs, they bring that
They
up.
talk about
Okay.
how these cats have had a couple lives and they're
Yeah.
kind of like over it. The movie is basically a series of introductions
Yes.
of cats who are entering the Jellicle ball to see if, what is it? Is it called the Jellicle choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
to see if they're the Jellicle choice.
It seems to me, because I have not read the original text that Webber's musical's based on,
The T.S.
The
Eliot.
T.S.
T.S. Eliot
Poems.
book, but
Yeah,
it seems to me like the T.S. Eliot book is just a collection of like little poems or, soliloquies
Yes.
about individual cat characters that are just supposed to be cute and like fun for kids,
So-
I assume.
Mm.
So Andrew Lloyd Webber just kind of took the most literal interpretation he could of that text. And instead of trying to integrate some sort of narrative other than the idea of the Jellicle ball being a consistent through line, there is no plot. When Brandon and you both told me, you being Frank, I'm Jesse.
Brandon.
There you go.
I'm Frank.
Cool.
You do that so much.
Sorry. Whenever there's an opportunity, I feel like you gotta run with
but
it.
you start with
yeah,
I.
it's the you being, and it's like
I try to make it weirder each time, so you never know.
I do like it.
But anyway,
It just always catches me off guard.
you guys told me this was literally just about cats.
When the composer Andrew Lloyd Webber first played the score of his new musical Cats for the famed theatrical director Harold Prince, Prince was confused. He tried, as he recalled to the Los Angeles Times, to figure out the deeper themes of what he'd just heard. I said, Andrew, I don't understand. Is this about English policies? Are those cats Queen Victoria, Gladstone, and Disraeli? He looked at me like I'd lost my mind, and after the longest pause said, Hal, this is just about cats. The musical has been newly adapted for the silver screen by director Tom Hooper, and this delightful anecdote provides a crucial mantra for watching. Don't overthink it. Cats is about cats.
Who wrote that?
David Sims at The Atlantic.
Okay, that's good. That's
Right?
very good.
Hilarious.
Because that is completely and 100% accurate when you look at it with that lens.
Yes, it's
It
just
helps.
It's just about cats. They introduce themselves. They go, I'm Rum Tum Tugger. I'm a curious cat. And he sings about it
Yeah.
for 4 minutes. And then you get the next cat.
It's literally like walking into a haunted house.
Yes.
And before you go in, you're a little nervous, and someone comes up to you and goes, hey, so this is the deal. This is where every scare is. This is what every scare is. You're going to go through it, and it's going to happen, but it's going to be okay. And you feel a little better. And every time a scare comes, you're like, right, I knew that was going to happen. I knew this is what this was. Because they're just cats. If you're told before, you know.
The first 2 numbers definitely set this like bewildering, kind of creepy tone of the
Yes.
Jellicles Can, the Jellicle song.
And I mean, the
Jellicles
way
can,
that
Jellicles
all
do.
of them move
Yes.
is horrifying.
like snakes.
Yes.
They're not moving like cats. They're just
reptiles.
like, I don't know. They went to cat school, for the record. Everybody went
Yeah,
to
can
cat
you guys
school.
talk about the cat school? I don't know much about this
Me
movie. I'm
neither.
going to be listening to you.
I
guys.
didn't bother to look into it because
There's a documentary on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm
there's
not gonna watch
2
it.
things that you need to know: cat and school, and it's in the title. And I can just assume that they went there with a bunch of fucking cats, looked at them, and said, "All right, yeah, let's do this."
I would guess it was actually more like coaches, like acting coaches.
I think
no?
it's cats,
literal
with
cats.
with acting coaches. Like, look at that. Do you see that? It's authentic.
That would be dope.
It was a lot of like what humans think cats would do, and
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know, man.
And-
Cats don't wear sneakers.
Do you guys think, because it's obviously unsettling as soon as you see them. That was apparent from the trailer. As soon as that first trailer dropped, I knew this was going to be one of my favorite things because it was baffling to just look at.
You were talking about it from the jump.
Oh, yeah.
From the jump.
I knew. Look at it. Just look at it. It's a mind-blowing, how is this real? It looks like the internet conjured a movie.
You know,
That's the only way I've
I
ever
saw
been able to
I saw a
describe
list
it.
on Letterboxd the other day of real movies that exist, but it was Tropic Thunder trailers. And like, so I was like, oh, that's funny. I would put Cats in that ranking.
Yes.
oh yeah.
That you would assume
Oh.
would be fake
Yes.
in any other movie, but it's actually real.
That one random Reese Witherspoon movie.
This
That we
uh,
kept seeing trailers for that one
Home
year.
Again or something.
What was it? You should find out because there was literally a year where we went to the theater for a straight full 365 days, and each time that trailer would play, we're like, when is this coming out? Who made this? This doesn't exist.
It
I
looked-
think
and
that
it
we're in
looked
the
fake.
Matrix.
The movie looks so just like substandard and Home Again
Home Again.
in 2017. It just was like, what? This looks fake. I don't know. The computers, they made a movie.
Probably a very specific to us thing. But if anybody else thought the same thing, let us know.
Yeah.
Email us at thechroniccanon@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at Chronic Canon.
It's true.
Nice.
Or you can like us on Facebook now.
You
too.
should definitely get us off the Home Again and back to Cats.
Yeah.
Back to
Back to Home
cats,
Again
Back
London.
to reality.
for the Jellicle Ball.
So there's, I don't even remember what we were saying.
Oh,
There's-
well, did you bring up the fact that it takes a sort of narrative thread by adding the character of Francesca Howard? Well, that's the actress's name.
Right.
But,
Victoria in the thing. She's our surrogate because she's thrown away by her human owner.
and that's not in the Broadway musical.
Right. I think she is a character, but I don't think she's like the focal point, is what I've read.
Yeah, she doesn't take us through the story.
He just went, she's an outsider and that will be our audience surrogate. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good call because I think this movie would be lost without it.
Yeah.
Because it's basically lost
and
with
at least
it.
she's very talented.
It's weird. She's like the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Well, it's
so
probably
weird.
like a Showgirls Elizabeth Berkley situation.
Listen,
Just the difference is
You're
she's
gonna
very
be
good
a
at what she does.
star.
Yeah, this is gonna be your big break. I feel horrible for her.
So do I.
there are
Francesca,
so many.
I'm sorry. Am I pronouncing that right? I hope so.
First of all,
Francesca.
shout out to
I'm gonna try it
Francesca
all.
because she is black and she's from Africa.
Really?
Yeah, she's South African. It's fucking crazy.
Made her the white cat.
Made her the white cat. That's I listened to Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood, and that was like one of the things they mentioned. They're like, we're only doing this because she is technically the lead, and she's technically black. Why did they make it a white cat?
I was about to say they white her the fuck up.
But in the end, it
Just
doesn't matter
like the guy in Ma.
because they didn't do that for Idris Elba, and I just wish they did something different for him.
We're not there yet.
We're not
Okay.
there yet.
So-
Listen, there's a lot of songs in this movie.
It's all singing.
It's all singing, basically almost zero dialogue.
Kind of like a
Almost.
Jacques Demy movie a bit in that sense.
And
right?
there's only 2 songs that are good, and they drive one of them into the ground so much that you stop caring about it by the time
That
you
is
get
true.
to the full song.
The best melody in the musical,
God.
Mr. Mistopheles.
Mr.
Oh,
Mistopheles.
yeah.
It's like a good, catchy tune.
It
And
gets
then
in
it
your
goes
head.
on for 5 minutes.
Forever.
It's insane.
Memory is wonderful, but
No,
she
it's not.
sings it like 8
It's a stupid song.
time.
And
She
she
sings it
fucking is
twice.
the most
I'm sorry.
over-emotional
Sorry, Memory's
shit.
not wonderful, but
Beautiful Ghost, which is Taylor Swift's original song.
Oh, yeah.
it's the only good thing Taylor
It's
Swift
so
attributed
good.
to the movie.
Yes.
Somebody told Frank, or Frank read somewhere
I
that
told you.
somebody told me that you. Anyways,
Hey, no longer than 15 seconds.
We're
gonna get flagged.
We're going off the rails.
that
So did this movie. It started it.
Taylor Swift was going to be the best part of the movie. So
Yeah.
when I sat down in the theater to watch it, I was like, all right, I guess I have to wait for Taylor Swift, something I never thought I'd have to do in my life.
So bad.
It's horrible.
Spoiler
Awful.
alert, they were wrong. They were very wrong. The first song of the movie is just about Jellicle cats. It's teaching you, the audience, and Victoria the cat, what it means to be Jellicle.
Yep.
Kind of creepy, but it's supposed to be happy. The second song is actually the creepy one.
Yeah.
The
A
one about your
cat
names.
Has
Oh,
3
yeah. That
names.
shit was
It's
wild.
fucking weird.
Through the lens of a horror movie, I was like, this is some fucked
And
up
we never
shit.
find out anybody's names. Everyone's only got one.
Because one is your name given to you, one's like your birth name, and then one's your name only you know. It's so creepy.
Fucking weird.
It's your cult name.
It's
Pick
like your
cult
mantra.
name.
And then
Mhm.
after that, we really don't have to get into the specifics of the
No,
songs.
we should because it's people. First, we get Rebel Wilson, Jenny Annie Dots, the Gumpy cat.
Ooh.
the
God.
Gumpy cat.
They
Is
start
this the sequence with the roaches?
With everything?
Yeah.
With everything.
cockroaches? God.
in the first 20 minutes. This movie announces very loudly what it's going to be and how you must prepare for it mentally. In the Rebel Wilson sequence, we get her full blown spreading her legs, crotch open, her dancing and scatting, doing her weird like breaks in the song where she makes like normal jokes, which are definitely not in the script. Just like, I'm gonna make a joke. And then we get the 3
Do you think
most
that was improv?
yes.
Ugh.
And then we get the 3 most horrifying things you'll probably ever see, which is probably why this movie feels so long, because you get hit with so much in just
So
this
fast.
one scene
Yeah.
that is so hard to comprehend that later when absurd shit's happening, it's just normal now. We get the mice, the dancing mice band that she kidnapped, leading into the dancing cockroaches she kidnapped and her taking off her fur. You guys,
Stripping her fur.
Oh my
she
God.
unzips it.
Well,
She
I'd like to think it's her
unzips
skin. Yeah, it's her skin because she's completely shedding an entire layer of person or cat.
When
Cat.
that happened,
My apologies.
when that happened for the first time, when she unzipped herself to reveal this glittering bodysuit and also another
More
layer
fur.
of her, I looked over and the expression on Frank's face was like somebody stabbed him. That was like the last thing that anybody ever expected to see, and it was just pure horror on his face. Because like, he's like, did she just take off her skin? I went, I think she did with a zipper that wasn't there in any of the other shots.
It was very nice being able to talk in the movie theater,
Oh,
being
God.
that there was only 4 people total,
Including the two of you.
including the 2 of us.
You
Uh,
and two like
middle-aged
women.
All
Yeah.
the way, they were all the way in the back. We were in the front. It
Everyone was
perfect.
talking.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking. It was great.
But being able to express my horror really helped me get through the movie.
I know I've talked about it on the pot before, but
Oh.
I saw that clip on Twitter prior to seeing the movie in full, and I was like in disbelief that that was actually in the final film.
I remember you showed me and you went, "Is this really in the movie?" You couldn't believe it. You thought somebody had tampered with it because the upside
the
down shot
360
with the
flip, man.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody went on fucking Final Cut Pro.
surprise. That's real.
Yeah.
That is the movie.
Fucking iMovie, even. That's worse.
Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah, this Final Cut Pro's good.
Flip it. It's baffling. She's terrible.
Yeah.
Her and I'm gonna jump ahead and just spoil it. Mr. Bustopher Jones,
Bustopher
James
Jones.
Corden are the two worst parts of this movie.
And they seem to like not give a shit about
Yeah.
it now and like openly mock and make fun of it,
Right.
even
They
at the
did at the
Academy
Oscars.
Awards,
That
which
was
is
so weird.
crazy.
It's like you guys are such assholes.
You can't do and this is maybe a personal opinion, and I know that a lot of actors participate in bad movies and like can joke about it, but I also feel like if you sat there and you like at least for Cats, where you put in work, like you sat there for several weeks in a fucking full costume, moving around like a goddamn cat, you're not allowed to be like, fuck this movie.
Yeah,
Shit,
hey,
you
man.
can't
You
shit
were
in it.
doing.
Like you
Money
did it
talks
the
and
whole
bullshit
time.
walks.
Yeah,
You know?
you're right.
Like it's not cool or funny when you make fun of it because it's like
You're
just
the
trying to,
jackass that did it.
trying
Hey,
to
here's
ride
a
the wave.
fucking $1 million. Meow for me now.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
do
be
it,
like,
but I'm not gonna immediately just be like, hey,
well,
fuck
maybe
that
I would.
movie.
Yeah, I know. Just because everyone else did. It's crazy how fast they dropped the awards campaign, how fast they just immediately tried to make everybody forget that this movie existed.
You know what?
Simply out of embarrassment.
This is a good time to talk it. If you do a quick Google, it says the budget is $95 million. But I've seen things before and I reconfirmed. It was $100 million to make the movie. They spent 95 on advertisements.
so
and
that's
the marketing
is that
campaign.
trying to make it like look less?
That was them trying to get it
Intense.
out there so that they can make their money back
Oh
because
my
they knew it was going to
God.
be a bomb. It made $73 million worldwide.
That's insane.
They spent more on marketing than they made with the movie.
It lost almost $130 million.
How big a bomb is that relative to like the biggest bombs of all time?
Ooh, I think John Carter is the biggest bomb of all time.
that
Actually,
movie.
I know that off the top of my
That
head.
Disney movie?
Yes.
I never saw it.
Which
It's
apparently
bad.
is not like the worst movie ever made.
No, everybody says it's just like it's fine. It had a $250 million budget
Jesus
with
Christ.
$100 million spent on marketing, and it made $284.
They were trying to make a new franchise, and it just didn't work. Because
It
what is
made
it, Taylor
284?
Kitsch? And
Yes,
that
to
guy's
both
not
of
a
you.
star. They tried very hard with that dude, and it just didn't work. Is Cats like one of the biggest bombs of all time?
Yeah, it's on the list. It's near the bottom if you look adjusted for inflation. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I'm looking at this correctly.
That's
it's kind of a
hilarious.
very confusing Wikipedia page.
I will give it credit. It is what it is. Not to reference Scorsese again,
Hey.
but like it knows what it is, and it is unapologetic in its existence.
I think that's what's actually frustrating in a weird way about like Rebel Wilson and James Corden is everybody is weirdly committed except the two of them.
Yeah, they
And it's
clearly.
an-
Well, and like Ian McKellen understands that this is probably sillier than Tom Hooper thinks it is.
Yeah, but he also commits the hardest
Yeah,
in a
well, he
weird way.
commits because he goes full crazy.
Right, he goes full cat.
I think
the
the
best.
problem.
And clearly, Tom Hooper at a certain point was probably like, I can't rein any of these people in. I want to
Yep.
see like an 8.5 style making of documentary about the making of Cats.
We should just make
Wait,
that movie.
That's what I want to see.
We got to do the research. But I think the problem with Rebel Wilson and James Corden is that they were trying to be like the same gimmick. Like, oh, we're the fat cat. We'll do like fat jokes and stuff. But like Bustopher
Yeah.
Jones is supposed to be like the fat cat. And like
And they keep
Rebel
coming
Wil-
back to them throughout the movie.
the whole movie, they're supposed to be like your side characters that give you like the laughs. Because there's a whole part where they like get kidnapped. And
They're
you have to, like,
comedic
watch
relief
them.
in a movie that inherently is funny.
But it's like they're both doing the same thing and badly.
Yeah, the side plot is Idris Elba is McCavity.
The bad cat.
He's an evil cat who plans to kidnap all his competition so he can be the Jellicle choice and get a new life because he's tired of being bad, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. So he's kidnapped people, and that's when we get more of their dumb shtick, and they're the worst parts. In between them is our boy Rum Tum Tugger, Jason Derulo,
Jason Derulo.
who like brings like a weird amount of life into the movie, but is also not like good.
I mean,
And
it's
it's
terrible.
He
he's-
thinks he's the star.
He's very sexual.
Insanely.
this
The
is when the
innuendo in
movie-
that character is wild. But I mean, his name is also Rum Tum Tugger. So I think that he might have just taken it far more literally than he should have.
There's like a scene when he's like about to put her foot in his mouth or something.
Yeah, man.
And
I remember
then
that.
all
And he
the,
bitched
like-
about his dick size too.
Yeah, I was just about
In
to
real
mention
life.
that. I was just about to mention that.
You didn't know that?
You didn't.
I thought we
I-
talked about that on the
come on.
podcast,
I
dude.
don't
He
remember
literally,
this.
when it came out, was like, "You made my bulge smaller than I wanted.
Like
what
that's
the
not
fuck
how
is
big my
wrong with
dick
you?"
is. He was upset. That's the only thing to this day that Jason Derulo has said about cats.
For the record, Frank is speechless. It seems.
I was just holding in my scream. I can't believe what you just said to me.
So he is a
I-
curious cat.
Wish. Can you imagine
If they would have appeased him,
that would have been the great. That would
Yes.
have made this probably
Yes,
the
Mr.
greatest
Derulo.
movie of all time.
So it would
we will make your bulge
terrifying.
bigger, Mr. Derulo. We're sorry.
Recut, bulge cut.
Bulge cut.
Where's the bulge
Where's
cut?
the bulge butthole cut? I
I'll-
want it.
I'll
the
email
BB
Tom.
cut.
I'll
But
email
wait a
Tom.
minute. In that case, I want Idris Elba to go full hog.
Yeah, when he rips off his coat.
His dick's just got to be
When
out.
he has the hat over his lap. Just like falls down like Rapunzel's hair. Big furry cock. Fucking give it to me, dude. I want to see it.
Boss to the wall. Let's go.
Sexualized men in movies. Hashtag sexualized
But
men
not
in
cats.
movies.
That's bestiality.
I didn't say cats. I said Idris Elba's cat dong.
If you walked on the
Big
street
cat dog.
and saw
It's
Idris
so cat
Elba and looking like how he did in this movie, you
Uh-huh.
wouldn't go, "Oh shit, there's the cat." You would go, "Ah, ah."
What the fuck's in front of me? That's what I would do.
I think if he's got Magnum eyes, he's got a Magnum dong.
He's got the most insane look in the movie by far,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
because
He's horrifying.
we are all over the place, guys.
And cats isn't.
Yeah, you're
Let's
right.
fucking be real.
It's because he's got
Keep
the
talking.
It's because he's got the coat on and a hat the whole movie, and in his big number at the
Wait,
end.
isn't he wearing a fur coat?
No, he's wearing a trench coat.
Oh,
He's-
it's a trench coat.
Yeah,
Judi
Judi Dench
Dench.
is wearing
Oh,
a
and
fucking fur
he's got
coat.
like fucking like rings and shit,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And his eyes are bright green.
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
fucking horrifying to look at. And then in this big number, he takes off his clothes.
It's wild.
and it
his
is
physique is horrifying.
so strange to look at after a whole movie of him being clothed. It's like, so you're naked now?
Especially knowing who Idris Elba is.
Yes.
And having seen him in so much before this.
I want to punch him in the face.
Like
Listen.
thinking about Beasts of No Nation
I've
simultaneously.
I've read a thing that said once, he's like, I accept almost anything. He's like, I'm an actor. I'm the people's servant.
He
If
even
somebody
accepted
wants,
coronavirus.
He's like, it's like if somebody wants me in a movie, I'm going to do it. You know, it's like, it's not money or integrity, I guess. It's just like, yeah, fuck it, man. I'm an actor.
Yeah, I feel
Who
like
cares?
Christian Bale is like that, and he decides to almost kill himself for every role. maybe we should try to do
Find
that.
a healthy middle ground.
Yeah, treat acting as a job, but maybe like.
I
do
mean,
it.
hey, think of it this
Yeah.
way. If they do it on screen, they live forever.
Hell,
Well,
So-
technically,
forever.
then you only have to
They
do it
die in the
once.
real world and they live forever on screen. If they go all the way.
Full
Think about it.
dog.
Heath Ledger, we're still talking about him.
We're talking about him earlier today.
Yeah, we literally were.
We're talking about him literally right now.
Ayo.
Any fucking ways.
Now, what I heard about McCavity, which I couldn't confirm because I didn't watch the movie again, is that every time he appears and disappears, he says like either McCavity or he says something like "I'm out."
I don't remember that. I'm
He's
out,
got
but
like a
he
little
definitely
sting.
does. And then he disappears because he's a magic cat.
Yeah,
Doesn't
on
make
Black
any
Men Can't
It's
Jump.
crazy how he'll just like show up.
To
sometimes.
kidnap.
Yeah.
Or dude,
He'll swoop people.
the one that's the most stupid is for Bustafer, where like everybody knows that McCavity is a bad cat.
Right.
Like they just tell you right off the bat.
Yes.
And McCavity appears for Bustafer, and he's like, "Hey, I know you're surrounded by food, but you want some more food?" And Bustafer's like, "All right, yeah, let's do it." And then he gets kidnapped. Like at least he has to capture everybody else. He didn't
Yeah.
even have to try for Bustafer.
Yeah.
He's like,
Tempted
"Hey,
him with
Tubby,
food.
come on."
In between Tubby and Rum Tum Tugger is our introduction to Grisabella, a Jennifer Hudson who tries way too hard.
Who's crying from the moment she enters frame.
She
She's
never
never not
stops.
crying. What are you talking about?
And seeing those tears on the digital fur technology, which we haven't talked about in
The
detail yet.
snot.
Have we
The
talked about
snot,
whether or not
too.
it's real?
The digital fur
Is
technology?
it no, not the digital fur technology. The snot.
That's very real.
Oh, we haven't. Is
'Cause
it?
We don't know. Like we couldn't tell. I remember
don't
it
think
was a
that
point
would
of contention
register
for
over
us.
like. Well, no, is that green screen? Because I think that they're
No, I
superimposing
think
her
they-
face
don't
over
they have,
to.
like, the dots.
Yeah, I think the body is green screen and the faces are more accurate. Oh, but there's definitely probably CGI involved in the whole thing. I gotta watch. I'm not gonna watch.
It
we
looks-
gotta
the
watch
documentary.
behind the scenes.
God,
It looks
if we
like-
were gonna watch. We should have done it before this, and I'm definitely not gonna.
It looks like they covered like the whole human figure with this hair, and then they're like, "Fuck the face," and then they just slapped it on top. Like
Good
it's
enough.
not like integrated.
I think the mucus was definitely CG.
It's gross.
It's
no matter what.
It's way shinier than normal mucus.
and it stays in the same spot. You would think just wipe.
Yeah.
What hits with Jennifer Hudson the most is that it feels like her like agents or even Tom, whomever, was like, Anne Hathaway won Best Supporting Actress with Les Mis.
What did she do?
You can win.
She cried the whole
Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah.
Crying. Anne Hathaway's good.
No, I'm not.
in Les
I'm not
Mis.
knocking that performance. She needed.
I think
to cry.
I have her as my winner that year. It's
Yeah.
possible.
Well, she does very
Despite
good.
all the hate that Anne Hathaway receives, she is the shining star of that movie.
At least in Les Mis, they admit Anne Hathaway was a prostitute, and they show you her downfall.
Whoa.
You have to.
Yeah,
dude,
That's Grisabella.
you have to assume Grisabella's like.
Oh no,
like
no!
a
I thought you were talking
prostitute.
about in real life. I was like, that's a wild accusation to make on Anne Hathaway.
You heard it here first from Iconic Canon. Anne Hathaway is a
Stop
prostitute.
this.
No, I'm saying that her character in Les Mis is a prostitute, and they show you that pretty early on.
Okay.
Pretty brutally, actually.
Yes.
And with Grisabella, they're just like, yeah, McCavity took her to the streets, and now she's bad.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and
oh my
everybody
God,
hates her.
is this a prostitute cat that
Yes.
you guys are just not going to admit?
Because her whole thing was she was once glamorous, the glamour cat, and it got taken all away.
I mean, it's a kid's story
It's
and a kid's movie.
Yeah,
so
I guess, but she's
we haven't talked about that. It's a kid's movie.
yeah, it's way too sexual to be for children.
I know.
and way too scary.
It doesn't make sense.
Tom Hooper literally said it's kind of sexual, isn't it? And when he's giving an interview about it.
Okay, can we talk about Tom Hooper just for a second?
Yeah.
Because we haven't really gotten into his like,
Definitely.
directorial history. I know he directed a movie prior to his big break, and that was one with Michael
The
Sheen.
Damned United.
The Damned United. I knew it had a D and the at the front. So the Damned
Very
United definitely
good.
makes sense. I don't remember what it was about. Looked like it was political based on the poster.
Mm-mm.
He's just standing there with his arms crossed,
It's
white
about
background.
football, dude.
Mm-mm.
Like soccer or some shit.
Okay, weird. So football and
football.
Yeah, yes.
Wait. Yep, it is. It's about Leeds United, which
Okay.
is like a famous team. It is not fucking political.
Anyway, but Tom Hooper comes into my universe when he makes The King's Speech. And The King's Speech, even at the time, was a movie that I normally would not have wanted to go see. But especially in 2010, I was very entrenched in awards season buzz and wanting to see every movie that was nominated for Best Picture or any other major Academy Award that year. And King's Speech was getting buzz out the wazoo. So I thought it was important.
King's Speech is actually his third movie. He had another one before Damn United called Red Dust with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Hilary Swank.
How are the reviews for both of those first two movies?
I think Damn United's actually like a well-liked movie.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think it got
decent.
poor reviews.
And then Red Dust looks less positive.
Well, it was his first feature.
But then King's
and
Speech.
he went on to make Cats, so we know where his head's at.
King's Speech, he won.
Well,
Best
I mean,
Picture
so
and
that's-
Best Director.
And I just want to acknowledge that that is maybe the biggest upset in the last decade as far as Academy Awards go. Like if Fincher had
as
won
far
for
as
Social Network,
critics
and Social
and people
Network
go.
had won.
You know,
Yeah,
at the time it wasn't like biggest upset ever.
I know, but
You
I'm
know what I
saying
mean?
for us.
Yeah,
That's all
Oh.
I'm saying.
well, no, Shape of Water is a garbage movie.
I mean, I guess
At
that's good. But what
least
was it up
King's-
against that year? I can't
doesn't
even
matter.
remember.
Literally
Yeah,
doesn't
okay,
matter.
fine.
Any movie would have been better.
That's fair.
But King's Speech is at least like decent. It's not-
It's not a horrible movie by any stretch, but it's definitely nothing memorable
all
and
the
nothing
actors.
rewatchable. Colin Firth is good. Jeffrey Rush is good, but other than that, I don't remember
Helena
much.
Bonham
Helena
Carter.
Bonham Carter. Exactly. I literally off the cuff was like, oh yeah, I forgot she's in that too.
But then he made Les Mis, which is dope.
It's crazy.
I love Les
Care.
Mis.
It rules.
At the time, I was definitely more into it than I am now.
It rules.
I thought it slapped. I didn't see it in theaters or anything. It just randomly rented from Family Video by one day because I saw I think I saw a trailer for it, and then I was at Family Video for my weekly visit with my mom, and I just
Nice.
walked up to the wall. I was like, okay, sure. I
How
don't-
most rentals go.
I don't know what to watch. I'll just do this. Sat down on my living room, sat in the floor, watched it for that. What is it, 2.5?
Sounds right.
Oh,
I
it's
think it's
long.
I think it's
it might be
240.
240.
Yeah.
240.
Sat there for the whole time, just on the ground in my living room, and cried twice.
Yep.
I was just like, this is so amazing. And I didn't find out for 5 years that people didn't like this movie.
Well,
I always knew people
I don't
shit on
think-
Russell Crowe, but
At
I was
the time, people were into it because critics weren't that harsh on it, from what I remember.
It was middling. It still got nominated for Best Picture
Yeah.
and shit.
and I think Hugh
wasn't-
Jackman was even nominated for Best Actor.
I think he
that
might
year,
have been too, but it wasn't.
which is crazy because he is one of the worst parts of that.
that is
Disagree.
wrong. That is
Dude,
wrong.
He's one of
his
the best.
voice is so bad.
No, it is
isn't.
not.
What are you talking about?
Listen,
Before you say another word, Javert.
Well, you can't
before
pick
drink
that
like a
one.
That's the
slave
first-
again.
that's their first
That's
song.
how he sings the whole goddamn movie.
No, every time he sings dude, when he's singing the cassette as he's dying, it is so good.
Look, opinions
So
are like
good.
cats' buttholes. Everyone's got one, okay? And everyone thinks everyone else's cat's butthole stinks,
Well, none of
Okay.
these cats have buttholes.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And Les Mis rules. And
Okay.
so does Hugh Jackman in Les
Russell
Mis.
Crowe.
Is rough.
Okay,
That's all I wanted
I'll
to
give
say.
you that. But Gladiator's good, and you're an asshole.
I've never seen Gladiator.
have I.
It's good.
That's probably fine. Joaquin's in it.
Yeah.
I'm doing the thumb down right now.
Ew.
I haven't even seen it, but I'm sure it's in there.
It is.
Anyway,
Russell Crowe is bad, but he
But-
makes Les Mis, which rules. and
also
then-
stars Eddie Redmayne, who goes on to star in his next movie, which might be even weirder in the canon of his work, given
Yes.
that Cats exists now.
Yes.
Because at least Cats makes sense as a follow-up to a musical like Les Mis. Sure, one Broadway musical to another. Broadway musical directors are pretty variant in all the different things that they
Are
direct.
you talking about the Dutch woman?
The Danish Girl,
Oh my God, I forgot he did that.
which I saw and was not great.
Isn't that like offensive?
Yes.
Yeah, a
I've
little.
never seen it, and no, apparently it's very.
I don't remember anything
Right.
about it.
It's like about a trans woman.
That was one of the movies Alicia Vikander was in at the height of her
She won
stardom.
the Oscar.
That's right.
That was
Forgot.
her year.
So
She-
because he gets supporting actor for 2 actresses in a row. That's why
Yep.
Jennifer Hudson is like, oh baby, the Holy Trinity once again.
I'm a do it up.
Cry!
She should have did it down.
Memory all alone in the moonlight.
Oh God, it's so bad. I think 2015 she had Ex Machina, Man from U.N.C.L.E., and Danish Girl.
Yeah.
That was
There
all
may have
that
even been
year.
another one.
Burnt.
Wow.
That Bradley Cooper movie.
Oh yeah, where he's the chef.
Yeah. I bet that's horrible. Let's watch
The
it.
bad boy chef
What, Bradley Cooper's amazing in everything.
with an
he's in.
alcohol problem.
Have you seen Shallows?
I haven't actually.
He's in. He's
Star
not.
is Born is the
Oh,
joke he's making.
Fucking,
Come on, Jesse.
I
In
didn't
the
see A Star
Shallows. All right, we don't want to get
I've
copyright
heard
strike.
people praise his performance even if the movie's not good.
hey guys, did you know that Bradley Cooper was integral in the editing room of Joker?
Did you guys know Bradley Cooper is listed on 10 Cloverfield Lane? He's a voice. That's irrelevant.
Ah,
It's just like
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. he
I
does do
almost
that.
rewatched Cloverfield the other day
the
Good
first
movie.
one.
Yeah.
Or 10 Cloverfield
because
Lane.
when I was a kid, all right, little tidbit, little side note about Cloverfield.
I mean, we're already going.
I watched that whole movie and was so pissed because I didn't get why the camera was doing that. I was so like I was so unbelievably frustrated, but that I couldn't see things. Literally, the whole purpose of the movie that I understand now as an adult
Uh-huh.
made me so upset. When
made
I
a
watched
lot
it
of
as a
people
kid.
upset at the
Like,
time.
I sat there for the whole time and was just like, I didn't like. How does this count as a movie? Like, I didn't see anything. I don't know what happened. What the fuck?
I thought I'm supposed to see movies.
It's not a hot take, but I agree that it is the best movie about 9/11 that
Hey.
exists.
Excuse me.
Watch it again.
All right,
just
cue it up.
The terror of not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking scary
the
when
way
you
that
put it through
the,
that lens.
the energy, it feels like that.
Seeing the tail of the monster when it first passes by the
Mhm.
camera just a bit, it's fucking horrifying.
Cloverfield rules. I, don't know the
I
last
think
time
it's
you
a
guys
great
watched
movie.
it.
No, I think it's a great movie. I've always stood by it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
As
it
much
in
as
a
I don't
minute.
like J.J. Abrams and his
He
whole
didn't even
bullshit.
direct that.
No, he was producer on it.
Yeah.
He was still around the idea of like making it a thing, and then obviously they've tarnished that.
Dude, that
now.
had one of the best marketing campaigns ever.
Oh,
the
yeah.
MySpace stuff.
I remember when it was coming out. I never saw it in theaters. It took me a couple years to actually watch it,
Saw
but I
that shit
remember
in
being like,
theaters.
man, I should have seen that in theaters. That would have been cool.
There's another movie, which kind of has to do with quarantine, but it's about, I think it's literally called Quarantine, where they're
Well, that's
all
a
trapped in the building.
that's a remake actually
Oh,
of
yeah.
Wreck,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
a Spanish movie.
But I
horror
remember
movie.
that has the same sort of like camera style where
Mhm.
it's handheld. And
Yeah.
I remember
Found footage.
I remember watching that and being like, this is cool. I should probably go back to Cloverfield.
The
Wreck,
original.
the last time I saw that was back like when we were early teens probably, but I remember really, really enjoying it.
I
back
think
then. It's a pretty short movie.
that movie was the first movie where I like saw everybody lose and like was actually like consciously aware of like, oh shit, everybody died.
That was before they really started
Spoiler.
bringing the demon shit into the plots of the sequels and kind of ruined it.
Oh, is that what happens with Cloverfield?
That's what
No,
happens with
no,
the Wreck
Wreck.
series. The Quarantine movie was about like sick people. Like
Same
the
thing with
American
the
version is
original
completely
Wreck.
cut out. Well, there's at the very end they dip into like, wait, what? There's like demon shit. Like I'm pretty sure there's like blood. And
No,
like, a
there's like
ritual thing.
there ends
Have you
up
seen
being
Wreck?
like a demon alien sort of thing in the
In
quarantine.
quarantine?
Yeah, because at the
Oh.
very end she has.
I always heard that it was more of the sickness
unless I'm
angle.
thinking of a different movie, like it starts off as like sickness, and they were trying to get down.
Is
to,
the
like,
end of
why
the
these
movie the
people-
girl laying on the ground with the night vision, and then she gets dragged away?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Back to cats.
Cats. The Jellicle Ball is
yeah.
coming. We talked about Jennifer Hudson last.
Your favorite, Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser.
Rumple Teaser. I love them.
Yeah.
They're the ones
Just
in the, house,
name.
right?
The
The
name
ones in the
gets
house.
me. It rolls off the tongue. Rumple Teaser.
They're honestly probably the best at being cats
Yeah.
outside of
Like they look the most cat-like.
And
Yeah.
they're also not major actors, so
Right.
they were able to cast
and
people
they're
who
just
were
having
right for the
fun.
parts.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another problem with this is that they cast stars specifically for their star power, not
Yes.
for their ability
Acting
to be like
ability?
cats.
Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, I think, is the highlight of the movie as far as like, oh, this is like good because that's when they're in the house and they show off
That
the
number was
crazy
really
production
fun.
design.
Really fun.
And they're having fun just like robbing people and they're like,
Yep.
this is a stupid movie. I don't know. Like, let's have a good time.
We're just
Yeah.
two cats. Who cares what we're doing?
and
We haven't discussed Ian McKellen yet, but
Yeah, he's next.
okay.
He is
Yes.
next. Oh, he's almost next.
theater
There's one important person before him.
Who?
We're not there yet.
Oh.
I want to quickly
More Rumple Teaser?
the production design.
Yeah. Well, it is definitely an important note to talk about.
I think it is overlooked and underappreciated because those are sets. A lot of those things are sets. There is a lot of green screen, obviously, and you can tell
But that's like
when
background
it's
stuff.
Yeah, and it's horrible.
Well,
every
a lot
time
of
they
it was
do.
done with the body capture stuff.
Mhm.
And as opposed to CGI, settings, they made real, tangible sets for a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's CG is the digital fur technology.
Well, there's some
DFT.
backgrounds and stuff, like when they're on the train tracks.
Yeah.
the background of London.
No.
is,
I know all that stuff would be fake, but I'm saying that there's a lot of times where they're intangible sets, which
Mm-hmm.
normally you would assume that a movie like that would not just specifically orient that for the DFT.
Definitely. And it's always bananas to pause and think about because you have real size human actors standing on a chair and they aren't looking over a table. So that's like a 5 to 6 foot person standing and you can't see. They're not high enough on a whole ass chair. It's just
Not a
everything's
similar
big.
movie, but
Everything's
a
big.
movie that is critically acclaimed to give you some perspective. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind does
Yes.
that too with Jim Carrey and Kate
Yes.
Winslet later in the movie, where Jim Carrey's a kid and
Mhm.
everything is from a giant perspective
Mhm.
all of a sudden, and all of the objects in the room are definitely practical props,
Mhm.
and it's very similar to that.
But for more of the movie.
Yeah, no, the whole time.
And that's a crazy thing to think about actualizing and
That's
making.
where's that budget going, baby?
Yeah, I
Other than for
know.
the stars.
And then the fur technology.
Yeah.
The
1, 2,
patented-
3. It's
So last
fucking
year we had the Irishman doing the de-aging technology and the digital fur. Who won between the two?
Irishman.
What?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I
No,
agree.
Cats.
They cut the buttholes out. If the buttholes were there, I might vote
All
that.
right, you're fair. You're fair.
And I honestly think that Cat should have won Best Production Design at the Oscars. Let's go.
Production design is cool, but this is also where you see how they fuck up the scale.
Yeah, but
So
that's
much.
fun. I don't know.
Like it's like, oh, these cats are 2 feet tall. Oh wait, now they're like 4 feet tall. Oh no, these are really
now they're
tiny
like 6
cats.
inches tall.
Yeah.
These are really tiny cats. Like at one point, Bustopher Jones and what's the Gumpy cat's name?
Jenny Annie Dots.
Ugh. Rebel Wilson are chained to a pole, and the pole looks like it's like a skyscraper, and the
Yeah.
chains are bigger than their whole body.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how big are you?
Yeah.
Like I don't get it.
Like
You're supposed
6
to be
inches.
the big cats,
It's
and the chain covers their entire body.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But that's what part of the fun to me.
Yeah.
And after
If you were willing to embrace the nonsense, yeah.
which
but
you
I
have
think
Which you
that
have to
only-
be.
I don't think it would surpass the one viewing. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I think that going into this podcast, I'm so sorry. I thought that this was going to be far crazier than it ended up turning out.
I do think
Because the craziness peaks at a certain point and really kind of plateaus for the rest of it.
it's sporadic more than anything. Like
Yeah.
there will be crazy things like
I'd love to see a Cat's 25-minute highlight reel on YouTube.
that's fair.
to be able to, just fucking smoke a joint or a blunt and watch and
have
laugh.
fun for
And that's-
25 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
An
Maybe in like
episode of
10
TV.
years, like, oh, wow, that's funny.
I have seen
That
it 3
exists.
times and I basically have liked it more every time.
Oh, okay.
But I'm
After the
also-
fact.
But I am tired of it
Yes.
at this point.
After the fact. I think it's a movie that sits with you afterwards.
That is
Much
true.
like Taxi Driver,
They're
Yes.
basically the same when you think about it.
Yeah,
If Travis
honestly,
Bickle hadn't killed those people, he probably would have became a Jellicle cat.
McCavity and Sport, one and the same.
Honestly,
Francesca Howard, Jodie Foster, no.
Scorsese thinks he's slick. I know what you're doing.
Stealing
Rumple
from Andrew
teaser,
Lloyd
it's a
Webber.
cute little gun guy, no.
So anyway,
So I think the cat you're talking about is the magical Mr. Mistopheles.
no, old
He's not
Deuteronomy.
next. Oh,
Well, Mr. Mistopheles has been in it the whole time.
right,
Yeah.
but he doesn't
But
get his
his
own
number
song.
He's
Sorry,
early,
later.
yeah.
But Old Deuteronomy's next. Judi Dench showing up, super committed, but just can't sing and is very uncomfortable.
Like,
Everybody rubs up on her. She's the leader of the cult. She
Seems
makes
like they're
the
trying to
Jellicle
make her out
choice.
to be the warm presence.
Yeah.
in the movie.
well, she
And-
was like
Nah.
I don't know, like the movies like claim to fame. Like there was this whole like campaign where it was like, oh, during the original production of Cats on Broadway, Judi Dench was gonna be in it, but then she hurt herself
Mhm.
tragically.
oh, so
and
this
this
was
is her
supposed to be her
chance.
comeback
Yeah.
or her redemption.
She was going to be Victoria, I'm pretty sure, actually.
Interesting.
And then, but because Deuteronomy is usually a man, but for
Oh,
some
wow.
reason, Tom Hooper made it a late. I like Judi Dench in it. I mean,
She was
crazy.
nominated for a Razzie, right?
Yeah, which
What
is
Razzies
bananas.
was this movie nominated for?
It won Worst Picture, Worst Supporting Actor and Actress for James Corden and Rebel Wilson, respectively. Worst On-Screen Combo, Worst Screenplay, and Worst Director for Tom Hooper.
How do you
And
think
then-
he feels about that?
Indifferent, or he's killed himself, and we don't know yet.
Is there any interviews with him post this movie's release?
Yes,
Oh God, how
There-
do they read?
he's very tired, but he's still somehow like proud.
I mean,
It's
hey, he
weird.
did it. That's
Yeah.
the thing I said at the end of the day when the movie was over. I was like, I mean, that is 100% his vision. No
He's-
question.
He's like, I just want to.
No one gave him any of those ideas.
Yeah.
He had that himself.
I'm sure
That is an unfiltered, unadulterated vision.
I'm sure he had to compromise because of the star power overpowering him.
Well, the only thing that might not play into it is the Rebel Wilson and James Corden stuff.
That's
It doesn't fit. It makes even more nonsense than the nonsense does.
I agree, actually. So, other than them, it's pure unadulterated vision.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Or
Well,
fortunately.
Judi Dench finally arrives.
I mean, it
Yep.
makes for something that's one of a kind.
and they've been talking about her for like the last like 20, 30
Whole
minutes of the movie.
Whole movie.
Whole movie. They've been talking about Old Deuteronomy because that's when the Jellicle Ball really starts.
And
Because she's the one
That
who
sounds
makes
like a
the
stoner
Jellicle
name.
choice.
Hey, old Deuteronomy.
Yo.
What's up, dude?
Honestly, yeah, Deuteronomy's here, dude. We're about to get high.
What's
I'm
up,
gonna start
girl?
calling you Deuteronomy.
What's up, Deuteronomy? All right, yeah, that's my group chat
Nice.
nickname.
Okay.
Cool.
Change your Twitter name. We just had this discussion today.
So then they have the Jellicle Ball, and that scene actually is terrifying. They all start dancing like they're hypnotized,
Mhm.
and it's like weirdly sexual when they're rubbing up on each other, and it looks like ghosts are taking them over, and it's like a cult initiation
Yeah.
dance.
Mhm.
And then they start the ball, which is when we finally get the preview of Memory and Beautiful Ghost, which does bump, even though Taylor Swift wrote it, but it's got a good melody, and we'll acknowledge it and we'll move past it.
There is definitely a clear distinction between that song and Webber's stuff too.
Here's
Yes.
what I'll
Like
say.
I think I said, "Is this the one?" When it happened, and someone went, "Oh yeah, this is the Taylor Swift song."
Here's,
And I
here's
just heard the difference
Yeah.
between the songs.
I think the reason that I like this song, and I guess we like this song so much, is that it actually makes a connection to like the musical in general.
Yeah.
It's the only connected thought in the whole movie where it's like, it's okay that you did bad things in the past. Like, at least you were beautiful once.
Yeah.
Which is like not the best message, but it's sung very well and like it's meaningful because of the character it comes from. And that's all I'm going to talk about because it doesn't deserve more than that.
Exactly. I agree. And just shows that Francesca, however you say her name, should
I'm
have
sorry,
been,
I put Francesca in your head. 'cause
Should
That's
be.
definitely not right.
should be in the movie more. Like, should be doing more. She dances a lot, but that's like really one of the like 3 times she sings.
Which
And
she
she's
was
got
a
great
dancer,
voice.
right?
Yeah.
Before becoming an actor.
I think she's like a ballet, classical, like world-renowned ballast.
She thought-
Ballerina. Jesus.
She
A
thought this was going to
ballast?
be her red shoes.
So
Yeah.
just as we think that the Jellicle Ball is about to come to a close and they're going to make the Jellicle choice,
No.
they get,
Gus.
we've
We've been skirting around it. The
the
theater cat.
introduction of
Meow,
Gus,
meow, meow.
If
the theater cat.
If I was more a brave man, I would have put him in my supporting actor choices for the year. Actually, no, because then I would have to kick out KG, and that's never happening because he's the man.
Don't do
So
that.
I'm not.
AKG, don't lean on the glass.
Yeah, I know. He stays. He stays. So Ian McKellen's 6th, though. You know, he commits harder than anyone in this whole movie. He meows like a cat. He licks his paws.
He licks the water out of a sink.
Yeah, like a cat. He's like lapping it up, and then he sings this very slow, long song.
And I love it. At this point in the theater, like I had kind of relaxed in my seat. I hadn't been like leaned forward like, ah, shit, you know? Like I was just chilling and like, all right, letting this movie wash over me. And then I recognized Ian McKellen. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I forgot you're in this. This is dope.
I like comic books.
Are you making fun of me right now?
Absolutely not. What are you talking about?
Because he's also Ganondorf. No, wait. Game.
I like video games too. I like
Fuck.
Zelda.
Gandalf the Great, the White, the Gray. Have you guys seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes,
I haven't.
he's
Okay.
all three of
Egregious crime. Never seen Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yes, neither have I. I
That'd be a
almost
good
did the
episode.
other day, and then Jesse was like, it's 4 hours, right? And I
Each
went,
one.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
that's if you watch the extended cuts.
Which is the ones
I've
that
never
you're supposed
seen
to
them.
see. Apparently, everyone says those are the ones
Sure.
that you're supposed to watch.
So we should do them.
I got them right there.
They're all dope. Actually, I'm not a big fan of Two Towers, but I want to see it again.
I've heard Two Towers is the best.
It's the worst.
So Gus is
I
being
mean,
a
people
cat.
also think Empire is the best, and that's
right.
wrong.
And when I saw him, I perked up.
Star Wars is
His
lame.
song is like
You're lame.
one of the only songs in like the movie where you kind of like you do a little bop to it, where you're just like, it's got like its own little rhythm and it's nice and slow and it's a good change of pace for me.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
That adds to the confounding rules of this world.
True.
He talks about performing Shakespeare. How does that work? How do the cats have scripts of Shakespeare? Did a cat sit down and write Shakespeare so they can understand humans in English?
Theoretically,
What are the rules?
Shakespeare's cat.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, Shakespeare's cat was also a playwright who made cat versions of his plays.
Okay.
Is there a cat alternate universe where all of us are cats?
I mean, now that you
and
said
all
it,
of us are Jellicle?
yes, literally,
Yeah,
because you
you
said
just
it
birthed it.
exists.
Because I'm not.
Congrats.
I'm not Jellicle.
Oh, you're
in this
Jellicle.
universe.
No,
See, we know what's up. Didn't
You
even
wouldn't
have to
be a
think about
Jellicle
it.
cat.
No,
No.
not right now.
You're too against it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even against
No,
it.
no.
Just lukewarm.
You're against it.
I'm lukewarm. Room temperature.
you
If
don't
you're not
believe in
Jellicle,
Jellicle.
you ain't Jellicle. If
So-
you
Hey,
remember
room
the
temperature.
Sphinx,
Faye Webster plug. Anyway,
Get out of here. The Skimbleshanks is after that, and his is the most boring because at that point, this is when it's like the movie has worn off its charm.
Who the fuck is Skimble?
The railway cat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the most nothing. It's not even so bad. It's funny or appalling. It's not good, so it's not entertaining. It's just there.
can we just dash to the magical Mr. Mistopheles?
Mm-hmm.
Because
So-
that's where the resurrection.
Well, then we have to talk about Taylor Swift because the reason Magical Mr. Mistopheles
fuck.
happens is because McCavity crashes the Jellicle ball
And that's when he gets naked, and that's when Taylor Swift sings
and
it's-
gives everybody catnip.
yeah
so
to
bad.
drug them.
But like they don't. I don't know. They were all acting really weird.
So it's straight up just Jonestown.
Yeah.
This is where the
So,
cult thing comes
She comes
back.
in. She sings
There
about.
is evidence that this is a cult in the movie.
I mean,
she
it
sings
is.
about how hot McCavity is and how everybody wants to fuck McCavity.
Yep.
And then McCavity comes and he goes, I am going to win because I'm going to kidnap the person who made it. So he kidnaps Old Deuteronomy, Judi Dench, and takes her to where he took everybody else, I guess.
And then Mr. Mistopheles is trying to conjure Deuteronomy back
Because
because he's
it's-
the magic
Yeah,
cat.
it's been alluded that he's the magical cat.
He's been doing magic the whole show, and he's been making moves on Victoria.
Yeah.
That's been his function.
Yep.
And then we get the best song in the movie until it goes on way too long. It's the best hook. Like, fuck, it's so good.
The magical Mr. Mistopheles.
It's going in my head right now. But they literally just repeat the same phrase over and over. Oh well, I never was there ever. Did you hear what I said? Those are the lyrics.
Oh, well, I never was there ever a cat so clever as the magical Mr. Mistopheles.
What? It's
Get
like
the fuck out
it's
of
like
here.
that's wrong.
It's
You
the
know
way they
that,
say
right?
it that it flies over your head, and you're just like, yeah, I never either. He is so magical, but what is he supposed to be doing?
I mean, you sing anything nice enough, people would just be like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah.
So then he does it. She comes back. They all break out of their shit and like overthrow him. Ray Winstone's randomly in this movie. He's in 2 scenes.
Oh, that's right.
he's
you were like,
McCavity's
do you
henchman.
recognize him? And I was like, what the fuck is Ray Wins? I don't think I've seen him in like a decade. What
And
the fuck
he's-
happened?
He seems like he hasn't spoken in a decade. He's the growl tiger, and he's like, I was out in the desert.
Could have been Paul Schrader. He could have fooled me.
Throwback.
1969. Change my life forever.
Get out of here. So,
Throwback.
So Deuteronomy is saved by Mistopheles. They overthrow Growl Tiger. Everything's chill. We have one of the crazy things at the end where Mr. Mistopheles flies through the air while a million cards fly out of his hat and instruments start levitating and playing themselves.
It's like Begin Again.
now he
when Mark
really-
Ruffalo's like, I see
Yes.
the band.
but it's a magic cat.
Yeah, and you probably like that better than Begin Again, too.
Yeah, like I would watch Cats 30 more times.
John
before ever
Carney.
sitting
I used to
again.
watch clips of the singing from beginning and like over and over and over and over again.
I
'cause
dug the
thought it was so
soundtrack at the
nice.
time. It was cute.
2 out of 5.
We used to listen to it together.
Mark Ruffalo, I have a soft spot.
He's
Not
fine.
as much anymore.
He's charming.
He's charming.
He's a cutie.
The guy's a fucking
guess.
dummy in interviews. So
Yeah,
funny.
He's fun
when he gets in trouble.
with Marvel. Him
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tom
When
Holland.
Don Cheadle like yelled at him.
It's time we talk about what happens at the end of this movie.
Yeah. So,
It's time we talk about what Judy does.
So close to being done with Cats forever.
so we have the famous memory again. They have the short reprise of it, or no, because the reprise is when it's the second time. Prelude, the first time in the movie when they do Beautiful Ghost, and then we get the full memory, and it's way too much, and it's way too serious out of nowhere.
Like-
Especially after Mr. Mistopheles, it's like, who thought this was the time to
like
drop
I just feel
memory?
like it should have happened earlier, and
Yes.
then he comes in and fucks everything up.
Yes.
like that makes sense. Whatever.
So anyway, she sings it. It's supposed to be beautiful. It's not. Oh, me and Brandon in the theater did a thing where I was like, what the fuck? This is awful. And then we looked at each other and we're like, sounds good. Actually, this is very pretty. And then you looked at the screen and went, horrible. Absolutely horrible. Just watching her as a cat being that serious and dramatic, it's terrible. Literally garbage. So then, of course, Deuteronomy goes, you are the jellical choice. And everybody's like, oh, well, it never was there ever.
Like
Just-
again.
Again, except they don't say that. It's a different words. Anyway, Grisabella literally gets in a hot air balloon, which flies through an opening in the ceiling and goes off into the clouds. And that is her ascending to the heaviside layer.
This raises so many questions.
So
One.
it's just murder.
How did they procure? It's not. It doesn't look like a raggedy like patched together fucking
No, it's real.
hot air balloon. It looks like they went to like a store and bought a hot air balloon.
For cats.
How did they do that? One, how did they assemble it? Two, how did they light the fire? How did they know where to go? It is.
3,
I just don't get it.
How
I just
is it-
don't get it. It blew my mind.
not just murder.
And then they just send her
it's
away.
just a movie, man.
They
That's
just
all.
send her
It's
away.
murder. It's a cult sacrificing a cat willingly.
And
Yeah.
then
Midsommar.
when you're
I
like,
know.
all right, at least it's over. Let's go. McCavity shows up.
Oh yeah, he tries
And-
to hop on.
He jumps on the hot air balloon. He's like, fuck it. I'll just go too.
But then he falls off. And
like
it's fine.
he just like, I guess he didn't.
And you assume that's going to be the end, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, they did it, the heavy side layer, sweet. And then we get another like 5 to 10 minutes, which is everybody singing about what they learned, how to address a cat, where Judi Dench dead ass looks right into the lens and
Oh yeah,
sings
this
at
part
us.
is insane. I forgot about
A
this.
cat is not a dog.
I felt attacked.
And she keeps doing like that little like, you know what I'm saying, with her like eyebrows raised and looks away from the camera and then looks right back and
Mhm.
just keeps going. Oh, and then we looked it up. It's also basically the ending of Les Mis when they're all
Yeah,
on the
that's
thing.
right. We've compared the sequences at the beginning or at the ends.
They're basically the same thing.
Yeah, just all the cast standing screaming
Like,
in one
Yeah,
direction.
and repeating something from earlier in the movie
Yeah.
that's literally about hope to the heavens.
With
Yeah.
their arms reached out.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
crazy. So Judi Dench tells us what cats are. Everything's happily ever after. The cult succeeded in their mission. Victoria is now inducted. She saved the day because she's the only reason Grisabella even got a chance. And that's fucking cats. We're done. It's over. We did it.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about it, guys?
I think it's fun. I think it's worth watching. I think it's like it's a marvel of like feat of filmmaking, even if it's not a good movie.
Let's be blunt.
Let's be blunt.
Is it
Let's be
time to
blunt.
be
I
blunt?
think that it is a good movie. I think you only need to see it once. I think you need to see it with a friend or two
Yeah.
and
Oh,
just sit
yeah.
down and just enjoy. Enjoy. Never take it too seriously because the moment you try to, you're going to start like getting pissed that you're watching it. But I think it's great. You got to watch it at least once.
So Does it make it into the canon?
Does it make it into the chronic canon?
I think the majority rules.
No.
I mean, like,
No,
I-
it
We've
has to be
said it's
unanimous.
unanimous. We've said
And
that
I
since
think-
day one.
unanimous?
And I think it belongs because it's unlike anything else.
all right.
And I think
12
it's-
Angry Men me.
Hey.
Persuade me.
Listen,
You
what's
don't-
in the chronic canon right now?
Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. That's it.
Technically Heat, technically Irishman. We know.
We can't say Irishman because we're going to do it, but he is an honorary inductee.
Yeah.
So
Will officially go one day.
Yeah.
we logged all of those movies, one, because we like them.
We based
After
it on
talking-
importance
And
than
then,
more
and
than
then,
anything
and
else.
then the importance,
But
in
also liking it.
the filmography of that director.
Yes.
This very well could be the last movie musical ever.
No, I mean, In the Heights is coming up very soon, and it looks very good.
No, in theory, it's like, okay, I was just talking about this the other day because me and Frank both watched Kiss Me Deadly. But,
I was going to talk about it soon.
well, we can talk about it in just
We'll
a bit.
talk about more.
Yeah, but Kiss Me Deadly is like a movie that I would say is like the end to the golden era noir genre, right?
Yes.
Deep Red is the end to the traditional giallo genre.
Yes.
The Wild Bunch is the end to the classical American Western.
Yes.
Cats is the end to the Broadway musical adaptation to movie genre.
Like in the history, it will be remembered that way.
Yes.
In the Heights and the
In the sense
upcoming-
that these movies have gotten so ridiculous that Cats has to exist.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. Because it never has
It
before.
climbed an echelon of ridiculousness year after year after year, starting in 2000 all the way up through now. And now we have Cats.
I can't believe Chicago won Best Picture.
I think that might be where this impetus started.
It
I
is.
haven't seen it, but Rob Marshall is highly responsible for this atrocity.
It's okay. It's not bad. It's not good.
Matrosity. Cats.
That was funny.
Yeah.
So
Cats
are you
is good.
So where does that lead you to though?
I mean, as far as like the idea of the input, like I get the idea that sure, it's one of a kind.
Are
It is
you
a
not
sing-
are you glad you watched it?
What would you say if I said what would you say if I said if I never saw it, it wouldn't have changed my life?
Sounds like we can't force you to make it go in the
Yeah.
canon.
Oh, but man,
Hey,
I can't do this.
yes,
I can't
you
do
can.
it to you guys. I
Jesse,
can't.
you
I
can.
can't.
We
You
did it
can.
with
You
Nyak Nyak.
can't. No,
We
but
did
see,
it with
I've already
King of
done it.
Comedy.
I know, but hey, I wasn't pushing that hard for that one only because I do feel like, yes, it was a retread. Though, having listened to the episode now, I do think the idea that it circumnavigates around the idea of media far more than any other movie, to kind of go back to the King Comedy for a second, does give it some level of distinction amongst the Travis
It
Bickle
does.
series.
It does.
Which I think the Bickle series is honestly what it should be
But
called.
I
Like,
don't think we should be as limiting as possible
Right.
with the chronic canon, or else it's not special.
Yes.
And so we can't let everything in. And I'm sure there will be other things that we want to put in more, like even the next movie.
If
we're
my
gonna talk
reaction
about.
is not that strong, that persuades you both to feel as if it's not in the canon.
I know now that the only reason you'd be doing it is because you're giving it to us,
Yes.
and I don't think there's enough logical reason behind that to allow that.
Well, do you understand why I
yeah,
wouldn't?
man, because it's awful.
Yeah. to
And do
not,
you
like,
think that
digress.
it like is egregious to not put it in the canon?
In a way, this episode did, so we don't need to make it an official thing.
yeah.
This episode will exist,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
true.
What a
is
tease!
an episode of the chronic canon.
A whole
Yeah.
episode, and it doesn't even go in the canon.
I mean,
Well, I mean, hey, we've
done
done
it
quite
before.
a few.
Yeah, but those are a necessity. This was our choice.
This is McCavity.
we chose to watch a movie that we wouldn't put in the canon.
I was sure we were gonna.
I wanted
This is
to,
Mistopheles.
but
Hey,
unfortunately,
I
we
abide by the
we,
rules.
we want it to be unanimous. And
Look,
Cats isn't.
I can't give James Corden the heat. Okay,
Okay.
can't give him the heat.
You know what?
There would be a lot of actors on the chronic canon that wouldn't normally be there. I don't see Rebel Wilson joining the ranks.
I mean, maybe we'll do Bridesmaids one day.
I don't think Rebel
Wilson's
Wilson's
not in
in
that.
Bridesmaids.
I
You're
thought
thinking of
Rebel Wilson-
Melissa McCarthy, dude.
No, dude. Rebel Wilson has a tiny part in Bridesmaids.
wait, you
She's
know
very
what?
funny in it.
She might be the flight
She's with
attendant.
the guy from that TV show, the British show. It's
Is
also
she-
very
is she
funny.
the flight
yeah,
attendant?
Yeah, no,
No, she's Kristen Wiig's roommate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You're
What the
right.
fuck?
Okay, I'm
You're
sorry.
right.
Good
I'm sorry.
movie.
I saw
Okay.
Bridesmaids once in theaters.
Me
I
too.
think I've only seen it once too, but I remember
I saw it
thinking
with
it
my
was good.
mom, and we both laughed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
I want to
movie.
see it again. I was like, you know what? I'm probably gonna like that a lot more than The Hangover now.
I weirdly think I put. And never mind. It's fine. That's not.
But yeah, anyway, I digress. I doubt we'll talk about the Bridesmaids anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than right now. So, Bridesmaids, you've had your moment. Maybe you'll be in the canon.
Honorary
To be
mention.
continued.
Honorary mention, Bridesmaids. You're welcome.
Paul
You're
Feig.
welcome. Yeah.
A series on Paul Feig.
Yeah, no.
The
Well,
Ghostbusters reboot.
Heavyweights.
I have seen it.
He's not the director.
Oh,
He's just in it.
Damn
Yeah.
it. I thought he directed.
But we should do Heavyweights as an honorary episode.
Okay,
one
this
day.
show, how much we derailed into nonsense. We
Yeah.
talked about Cloverfield today.
Yeah.
Listen, it's not in the canon.
Okay.
Sorry to burst everyone's
I'm
bubble.
sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
I'm sorry to the both of you because you have
Nah.
hyped this up for so long and I have completely deflated the entire
No, you haven't.
excitement.
No, you haven't.
Sawyer, I'm sorry. I really let you down this time.
We're.
But I'm hopefully gonna pick it back up one day. Watch Heat.
Uh,
If you
Yeah.
haven't yet.
Send us
Has
some
Sawyer
hate.
seen Heat?
So, probably. I mean, probably not.
If
I
you
would
haven't
say no.
discussed Heat with Sawyer, then I would assume he hasn't because he's
I
trying to
haven't-
hide it from you. He
you know
doesn't
what?
want you to know you haven't seen Heat.
As soon as this
He hasn't seen
podcast is over, I'm gonna give Sawyer a call and tell him to watch Heat.
You gotta go give him a Heat check.
Give him a Heat check.
Hey-o.
Heat check.
So let's end this episode similar to how we normally do with a little, asterisk
Well,
on it.
What? Like as in this
Just-
movie?
No.
You got
We're
a
done
prompt?
with this movie. I'm talking quarantine and what we've been watching.
Okay, because that was what I was gonna say. We do our recently watched, but I feel like because we've been so inundated with watching things recently, we can talk about a few, right?
Yeah. I wanted to
Quarantine.
talk about 3 movies and 2 TV shows, actually.
Okay.
So, been watching lots of movies, mostly movies this quarantine. I think so far I'm at 33, something like that. It's a lot of movies. It's too many movies if we're going to be honest, but why not? There's nothing else. There's not a whole lot else going on. So, 3 best things I've watched during quarantine that I think everybody else should watch. Kind of. 3 best things that I also haven't talked about. So, I'm going to leave off Miami Vice today. But that would be up there. But we've talked about it enough, even in this episode. So, anyway, you should definitely watch Kiss Me Deadly, which we also brought up. Amazing classic noir, blew me away. Jesse just rewatched it too. And Alex, shout out, also big fan, our friend. The Birdman.
The Birdman himself.
Nice.
Fuck Michael Keaton. Except in the other guys. He's fucking incredible. Deserved an Academy Award.
Yes.
He's dying.
Kiss Me Deadly rules. If you want a detective story, that's exactly what you should watch. Just anytime you're an inkling for that, throw on Kiss Me Deadly and you will probably be confused and surprised.
I've seen it 4 times.
That's a lot of times.
And each time I sort of kind of trail off and forget about it after a while. And it sort of lingers in my mind in sort of a dream state.
Mhm.
And then I go see it again. And I'm like, I remember all this. And it's so good.
It's
Mike Hammer is the quintessential noir protagonist.
I
If you
think
can even call him that.
I think it's like a textbook perfect movie.
Yeah.
That even has a lot of surprises in it.
Especially for what
So-
it is too.
Check it out if you're in the mood for that. Also, Burning.
Hey,
I feel like I might have mentioned that on the pod. Not
I don't know if
positive.
we've talked about Burning.
I
before.
really don't remember. So
Newer movie.
Lee
Last couple
Chang-dong?
years. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And fucking rules. Honestly, one of the best movies ever made. Not one of my
Incredible.
favorites, but one of the best. I think the biggest thing, it's like you see the movie you want to see. It is so strangely specific of like, it's a full ass narrative movie and it's like completely driven by that. And yet there's so much not there that every person is going to see a different movie. It's crazy. I feel like somehow that concept should be the future of movies. It's like the most immersive filmmaking I've probably ever seen, maybe ever. In that way, where I literally was just like, you could just, it's the perfect mix of like just enough information and not enough. And it leads to this singular experience.
And it's nice and long too.
It is long. And it just
It
pulls
really lets
you
you
in
have
more.
it. Yeah.
And it's just like,
Sucks
what
you
the
in.
fuck is going
Like,
on?
okay, so I just want to talk about that movie for a second
Hell
because
yeah.
I remember when I saw it in theaters when it came
Yeah,
out,
nice.
just because it had gotten enough buzz to the point where I was like, well, this is out. I don't go see enough foreign cinema in theaters, at least nowadays, just because I feel like it's always such a brief window and I'm so busy that I don't make the time to go see them. But I'd heard enough about Burning that I really wanted to.
Mhm.
So made it out to the theater with a friend, completely blind. Just like Parasite, which I want to point out that Frank and I have discussed, Burning is sort of our preferred idea of what Parasite sort of kind of gave us
in the
in a way.
metaphorical
Like,
sense.
Burning is the more like, I hate to say intellectual, but is the more intellectual version of what Parasite is more the genre movie, even though I think Parasite is pretty goddamn intellectual on its own right
Yeah.
to begin with.
And I actually, after
I
this
think it's a little easier to spot the metaphor, though.
I
in
mean, it's
that.
not. I don't think it's trying to hide it.
No.
And I think that
I don't think
they're-
burning is either necessarily, but
I think they're less related than I did before, but they definitely are still.
well, the
very
class
similar.
stuff definitely sticks out.
Yeah, but it's okay. Wait, no, they are. I'm just
Dude, I
remembering
was about to
burning.
say, like,
I'm just remembering
the
burning and
movie
getting
is also.
smile.
I don't know if it's just me. What? The movie's kind of hilarious.
Burning,
Yes.
a little bit.
It's so fucking funny.
But that's what I mean. It's kind of hilarious. It's kind of horrifying. It's kind of intriguing. It's kind of everything.
Yeah.
You will find the movie
seeing
you
it
want
in
to watch.
theaters, seeing it blind, not knowing what it was, seeing it moment to moment, all the way to its insane ending, which that's all you need to know.
Yes.
As
please
far
don't
as
say
plot
more.
mechanics are concerned, go see it if you haven't. It's amazing.
And last movie I want to mention, I'm trying to go quick. Primer. Just watch it. If you want to make movies, it should be required viewing. $7,000. Look what you can do with just some ingenuity and drive. It's crazy. Shot on film in 2000s. Best time travel movie. It's literally the most inspiring movie I've ever seen.
Shane
Next
Carruth
to
make another movie.
please, he says he's doing one more and then
Yep.
he's done. It's such a shame. I bet nobody wants to
We'll
give him
see how
money.
quarantine affects that.
Hey, yeah, you should watch it, especially if you want to make movies. And then
Short too, isn't it?
yeah, it's less than 80 minutes. It's perfect.
But it's a lot to digest.
It's the most to digest. it's next to 2001, where 2001 is just like, look what you can do at the most excess, in a way. Just like these
And
are
this is
the
most
limits.
restrained,
This
more
is the limits of cinema.
honed in on the verbal.
Right. Well, not even that. Just like look
But a
what
lot of
you
it's a lot of
can-
jargon that you can't understand. I haven't seen
Actually,
it.
not really. That's only in the first 15 minutes. I mean,
Okay.
there is a lot of it, but it's a lot easier to grasp than, well, maybe because I've seen it so many times now. It doesn't phase me as hard to penetrate.
Got it.
I was told that the thing about it was that it doesn't give anything to you.
Yeah.
It just presents everything as is, and you kind of just hope you catch on.
Yeah. Similar to Burning in that way. You got to do some work. So those are the 3 movies. And then just, oh my God, this is too many. Should we just do 3? Should I just do these 3 movies?
If you want to.
Move on. Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Avatar The Last Airbender. Watched all of both, and both amazing for different reasons.
I love both.
I laughed a lot during all of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and cried many a time during Avatar.
You think I'd
Nine-Nine.
like Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
All right.
Yeah, probably.
I've been recommended it a few times. It's just only given a couple episodes a shot. Never got further.
I'm looking, and we're already this is the shortest we've gotten to this point in a podcast before.
Uh-huh.
So I don't care. I really want to talk to you about Avatar and Brooklyn Nine-Nine because I
Okay.
got so excited when I heard you were watching those shows. Because I recently, with a friend of ours, Michael, started watching Avatar The Last Airbender again because he has the whole Blu-ray disc set.
Mhm.
And I watched the whole series as a kid in real time, and it was the most beautiful and amazing thing to me. So I want to know, who is your favorite character in
Zuko is obviously the best thing by the end.
character arc? Oh, for sure.
Oh, my favorite is Iroh. Duh.
Iroh.
He's the
Mhm.
best.
Mhm.
Uncle Iroh.
Mhm.
Everything he did just brought me joy, and I loved him. And all the emotional things were pretty much involving him and Zuko, where I was just
Bro.
crying.
Dude, when he finally meets up again after
Stop.
they separated,
Stop. I'm
and
literally
he
gonna
goes,
start
I was
crying."
afraid that you were mad at me and that you never wanted to see me again. And then Iroh turns around and fucking hugs him. I was only afraid that you had lost your way. Dude, Iroh,
Maybe gonna start crying.
the one of my first tear rolling Iroh moments is during Tales of Ba Sing Se, which is my favorite episode of Avatar:
It's
The
one of
Last
them.
Airbender, because it goes for
The sun. Oh my God.
it's so
Bridge.
good. You see Iroh just walking through the city, going about his day, and it's all leading up to him visiting the grave of his son, and you finally understand everything about him. You
Yep.
get it. You get it now. How he got to be this. When all you hear about is how he used to be this crazy war general who tried to take down Ba Sing Se, and then all of a sudden he stopped and just left and became this thing that he is. This wise old man.
The best.
Love him so much.
You just reminded me somehow that this show helped highlight my problem with a lot of movies in a very weird way, because it's 3 seasons, right?
Yes.
Every season's 20 episodes. That's 60 episodes of content. You
Yes.
have time to do these expansive stories of characters growing, change, but like that's the benefit of television. It could be any show, but Avatar specifically reminded me a lot of Star Wars, of trying to do the same things in the same ways, but so much more effective because I'm in the middle of rewatching all of them. So the connection was even stronger, I'd say. But I was just like, this is better than all the Star Wars movies. Like it just is, because it's telling the story effectively with the time it needs to grow. Actually, movies, I feel like when you're trying to go for these large storytelling things, and this is my problem with like even Marvel stuff, it comes to this, it's like you can't devote enough time to do all the things you're trying to do. You can't worry about your plot. You can't worry about the next movie. You can't worry about your characters growing with like enough focus on all fronts to do it successfully. And I just feel it's lacking this like necessary push. And I prefer movies that focus in on like smaller, more focused time frames or periods of time or like events, you know, more streamlined.
Yes.
And I think Avatar really helped because it is fun. I mean, and it is literally a kid show. And there are many times where it's like, right, this is a fucking kid show. But there's also many times where I'm like, this is some of the most profound writing I've ever actually felt in my body. And I feel like a better person after watching Avatar.
Dude.
I've thought a lot about myself and tried meditating because of the show. I was like,
my chakras blocked.
I Googled it. I was Googling chakras, man. I was like, shit, man, I'm fucked. This show is opening my eyes.
Quarantine's got you feeling all sorts of ways.
Yeah, man. Avatar was just so good, you guys. So good. We do not have to litigate Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's fucking funny. Everything's
funny.
great.
It's good. I was just going to ask your favorite cold open, but they're all funny.
I could not even tell you. They're all amazing. Scully and Hitchcock are tied for my favorite with Charles. Because Charles was way better in the beginning, but then the whole show I felt like kind of starts slipping in the later seasons, but Scully and Hitchcock are never not hilarious.
Yeah. It plays into itself too much towards the end. I get that.
Also Holt. I forgot about Holt. The best.
Yeah. So
okay, I'm done.
Watch both.
I don't think any of you guys have seen any of the things that I'm going to discuss here.
All right,
I've been watching a lot of staple classic movies that are blind spots on my cinema watch list. I've been rectifying a lot of that, and there have been a few that I've really, 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 really loved, and I'm going to talk about 3 of them. Okay. Technically 4. I'm going to lump 2 together and then talk about 2 others. The first I'm going to talk about is Federico Fellini's Nights of Cabiria, which is a movie that I have tried and tried again to watch so many times over the years.
We've even tried.
Yeah. Sit down to start it, and for some reason, I can't get past. The movie opens, cold open, on Cabiria, our protagonist walking with a man along a river or something, and he inevitably snatches her purse and shoves her into the river and leaves her for dead and runs away. And Cabiria is a lady of the night, you might say. And she gets rescued, and she, goes out like looking for the guy who stole her purse because she's been with him for like a month apparently. And she thought that she was like, in love with him. But he was only there to rob her of her money and take it and leave her for dead because she's a lady of the night, nobody cares, no one's gonna miss her, probably. I'm assuming that's the implication, but maybe I'm the ass for assuming. So the rest of the movie follows her trajectory over these titular nights of Cabiria, in which she travels around the streets. I believe it's probably Rome or something like that, some Italian city, because that is where Fellini made movies. It's great. It's very sad, very melancholic, but there's also great moments of joy throughout.
I was going to say, is it pure miserablest?
No. Julieta Messina's performance is incredible, and I've heard it compared to Chaplin before, and I think that that's a very apt comparison. She commands the screen in a very similar way, shares very similar comedic and dramatic emotional physicality, communicates a lot of emotion through her body language.
Nice.
And I think Fellini was quite keen on the talent that she had and, definitely exploited that in his movies, or at least the few that he made with her, because I'm pretty sure they were married. But Nights of Cabiria obviously holds up to the critical standard that it's been held up to as one of the greatest movies of all time. Easily a 5 out of 5 movie. Very emotional by the end. Pulled some tears from me. Very, very, very sad. Also very, very joyous sometimes. Also watched on the happier, but also like a social end, is To Be or Not to Be. Ernst Lubitsch's comedy satire about World War II and fascism and Nazis amidst World War II and fascism and Nazi rule.
Made in 43 or something?
I think it was 43 or 42, in fact. 42.
That's insane.
It was unreal. And the sharp wit of the satire and the truth in the satire was staggering, to say the least. I was shocked that they got away with making it, and I was shocked with how well it still holds up, simply because the Nazis are ultimate representations of evil. So any sort of play on that idea is inherently going to work, I think, especially at the time, given everything that was going on. But I wonder if they were even aware of the concentration camps or anything by that point, because I thought they mentioned it, like the characters possibly being taken by the Nazis and going into a concentration camp. But virtually they're like
They wouldn't have known the extremes.
A theater troupe putting on a satirical play about Nazis that then gets taken down by the Nazis because they invade. I believe the movie takes place in Poland, and because it's in Warsaw, and they are shut down. They can't do that play anymore. But then one of the actresses in the troupe gets involved with a, British spy or Polish spy who then gets wrapped up in a Nazi spy plot, and then the whole troupe ends up getting wrapped up in it, and it becomes this wacky and also really intelligent sort of spy thriller that works like a James Bond movie, but with like a lot of comedy, and like it really, really works to this day. It's aged very, very well. Jack Benny's performance is excellent. I think you'd particularly really like him in the movie, and I can't wait to watch more Lubitsch now, knowing that this stuff is this good.
I've never seen any.
I think
of
it would
stuff.
pair well with Inglourious Bastards, obviously, and I would assume that this had to have informed that in some way.
Interesting.
And the final two movies I'll briefly touch on, just because I've been going ham on Howard Hawks this quarantine, is a combination of Bringing Up Baby and Red River, because I can't decide which movie I like more, because I loved them both so much. They were both so good. I've been going ham on Westerns this year too, trying to catch up, because Westerns have been a major blind spot in my watch list for years, so I figured I'd rectify that as well. So Red River lumps itself into that category too. And fuck John Wayne, but he's pretty fucking good in this movie, actually. It's probably his best performance that he's ever given that I've seen of his movies thus far. I do want to rewatch The Searchers and a few other ones. I want to see Man Who Shot Liberty Valance so bad.
Yeah, me too.
That's coming soon. I'm really trying to speed through the Westerns just to get to that one. But I digress. Montgomery Clift's also amazing in it, and it's just super entertaining, and it surprised me. But I guess, I can't underestimate Hawks at all. His examinations of Community are really, really fascinating to me, and like the people that work within those communities. Like all the characters in his movies have life, and they all feel like they're fleshed out, even if you don't know anything about them. Anytime somebody walks on screen, they seem like they have a storied history. It's not just an actor performing, especially in movies like this. Bringing Up Baby's a bit more consolidated to the plot centering around Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn, but there are bit players that come in and out, whereas like movies like Only Angels Have Wings and Red River and Ball of Fire, etc., all seem to focus on a pretty big group of people, if not centering in on two main characters or a few main characters. But Red River actually examines masculinity maybe in a way that his other movies have not done so thoroughly, because it's dealing directly with a group of men that is like surrounded by only men and cattle, because it's just about cattle chasers, basically. They're taking a ranch from one end of the earth to the other, basically. One end of the country to the other. Not that far, relatively, I'm sure. I can't remember specifically. But Montgomery Clift is John Wayne's like sort of adopted son, and they sort of butt heads because they have different moralistic ideals, and John Wayne actually plays quite a pathetic character, and that sort of played in to my admiration for his performance too, to see him like take punches and take hits and shots. Like I couldn't believe that his ego would have allowed for that at the time, especially. And I was watching it with Alex. We already brought him up before, like via Skype, actually, because I've been a Biden quarantine. He pointed out that he thought that it must have been a huge influence on There Will Be Blood, not just in its landscapes, but the dynamic of those specific characters, the father-son dynamic, the adopted son dynamic, different morals, etc., etc.
Interesting.
Power, greed, and then there's a couple Hawksian women that appear in the movie that are excellent as well. And then Bringing Up Baby is literally one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Like I laughed my ass off the entire time. Was high as fuck the entire time too, granted.
I mean, that goes without saying.
I love Cary Grant. He is one of my screen crushes, if you will. He's great. I love him.
Is he the GOAT? Howard Hawks, I mean, not Cary Grant.
I think he really is. Like at the end of the day, he basically encompasses everything movies should be about. And I think that, ironically, given the fact that most people that look at my favorite movies list are always like, Jesus, you watch nothing but depressing bullshit. Like, what the hell? Like, you gotta have some dark shit. It's like, yeah, I know. And then on top of it, fucking Howard Hawks' movies are all nice. Like, there's dark stuff in those movies, and they touch on themes that can be dark. But I think the center of the movie is always very nice, and he's even been stated as saying, "I don't want to make anything that isn't nice at the end of the day."
Is Only Angels Have Wings your favorite?
Oh, definitely.
Cool.
By a long mile.
I think that's my favorite.
Makes me feel the full gamut of emotion. We'll talk about that in a later episode, I think.
I've
Okay,
only
cool.
seen His Girl Friday, right?
Yeah. And the first 20 of Only Angels Have Wings.
Oh, good.
All good.
His Girl Friday is fucking hilarious.
It's really, really
Slaps.
good.
So
absolutely
cool.
slaps.
Hawks rules. We should do him. Yeah, eventually.
I hope. The greatest hits,
Somehow.
at least, highlight reel.
I will say there was a
One day.
solid like 2 weeks in a row where every day, because I still have to work during this whole thing,
Mhm.
where I would come home from work and Jesse's slouched on the couch and there's just some movie in black and white on. Every day it was a different one. And it got to the point where I was like, do you watch anything past like the 50s? He goes, I like old movies. What do you want? Leave me alone. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I like
Thank
new
you.
movies. He likes old movies. We're
I feel all
opposites,
warm and fuzzy.
but we get along. It's beautiful. So yeah, good choices, good picks.
Thank you.
So I guess I started off the lockdown of April with a little classic of Steve McQueen. Watch Shame
Nice.
for the first
Oh,
time.
yeah.
It was just like it was on the mind. I think I had a conversation with a coworker about something related to it that made me think about it. So one day I just immediately got home from work and was like, Jesse, can I borrow Shame? And he was like, are you okay? I said, yeah, man. I just like, I want to see the movie. I want to see what it's about. He goes,
It's just a weird movie to just like, hey, I want to watch this.
I was like,
Right now.
I was like, I'm
When
surprised.
normally it's like throw on heavyweights
I
or
was
the
like,
Country Bears.
I'm surprised you were questioning me because I was like, I'm watching a movie of my own volition. Like, you should be happy.
Yeah.
But I had to watch another movie that day, and I would have watched Shame with you otherwise.
Yeah. So I went in the basement and watched all of Shame, and I mean, I did love it. It was a grueling movie.
Did
Yeah.
you
Really-
wallow in the shame?
Really, really hard movie to watch, and yeah, definitely wallowed in the shame because I think even the most pure of heart person can like relate to some aspects of the movie. You know, even if it's not Michael Fassbender's character, it's
There's
somebody.
more going on than just the sex addiction in that one.
Dude, there's so much. There's so many layers, and
Character's complicated, even though he hides a lot of it
mm,
via that dark stoic
I think
facade.
I can't remember the name of the actress that plays his sister,
Carrie Mulligan.
but she's also in Drive,
Yes.
and,
is.
and she's just
Facts.
a great actress. She
Yeah.
does so
Yeah.
good in this. Like everything's super believable. And I know this is Steve McQueen's first movie, but it's
This is his second.
I thought it was
feature.
his first.
No, Hunger's
Hunger's is first.
Oh no, Hunger. That's the
He is the
Michael
director
Fassbender
who
one, too.
kind of discovered Fassbender.
Yeah. But Fassbender,
He did.
he blows my mind. He does so well. Hold on.
That was at least Fassbender's big break was in Hunger. Because Bastards
Same
came
year
after.
as Bastard.
It was the year before, 2008.
Okay.
He does really well. Like he's not playing like a good character, like a nice guy. Like you see him lash out at people a lot. You see him do a lot of like kind of crazy manipulative things. But Michael Fassbender sells it so good. And I don't know, like the last couple movies I've seen him in, like 12 Years a Slave, he's very good at being not nice.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like I don't know, like I don't like get mad at him after the fact. I think I'm more amazed, like, God damn, dude, like you were being really mean right now. I'm amazed you can do that.
Maybe you will like Bergman. They need to be.
It's like, oh my God. So that was good. I'm really glad I watched it. And then
It is a good movie.
Bergman also has a movie called Shame.
I'm listing these in chronological order from when I watched them. So then a couple days later, I saw one of the coolest movies I saw that month, The Seventh Curse.
Ayo,
Good
that's a
movie.
great movie. That came very
movie.
close to being in the list of movies I was about to talk about.
It fucking slapped. Like I didn't know anything about it. Jesse like briefly mentioned like, yeah, I think I'm gonna end up watching this movie tonight. So if
It's
you
very
want,
short, very brief.
if you want to, you can join.
Flies by.
And you know, my stipulation is always what is it about and how long is it? That's usually my thing.
I mean, those should be the two main things.
Jesse does often offer to watch movies with me. I don't always accept, but most
I
of
don't
the time,
offer, I want, and I ask.
every time I have sat
Putting
down
it
and
out
done
there.
it, it has been a good experience. I've been like, oh, this movie's cool.
I'm not
Thanks.
going to show you something you're going to hate.
Yeah, which I appreciate. So Seventh Curse is really cool. It opens up with like some tactical like espionage where they're fighting terrorists inside of a hospital. And they, like,
good.
Try to sneak in a doctor, and the doctor is supposed to be with the police officer, but the police officer gets
Maggie
knocked out.
Chung.
And now it's a reporter. So it's
Irma
a,
Vep.
it's a reporter and a doctor in a room full of terrorists. And all of a sudden, the doctor knows karate. and he's just fucking shit up.
He rules.
He
in the
rules.
movie.
Then it
turns into
it-
a Cronenbergian body horror.
it diverts so
Yeah.
hard. Like literally, like the next scene goes home.
Yep.
No, he goes to a party first.
80s erotica,
yeah.
He goes to a party.
vaporwave aesthetics shit. It's weird.
And you think it's gonna be like some sort of noir because he's at this party and he's dressed all suave and the reporter's coming up and asking him questions. But in the end, he's basically like, I don't know who you are, fuck off. And then he leaves. She tries to chase him, and then he incapacitates her car and dips. And that's when it changes when he gets home and gets attacked by some dude in tattoos, and they break everything that you can
So
in a
funny.
house. They
Yeah.
break every item over each other, and then you find out about this blood curse, and they're like, hey man, don't get too excited and
Don't
have
spoil the
sex.
movie, man. Be careful. People haven't seen this.
About the blood curse is in the bio.
I know, but I'm just saying, think about the fact. Frank went in. I remember the look on Frank's face when they went blood curse.
Excuse me.
Yeah, where are we going with this?
It gets bizarre. It gets wild. Movie doesn't go in any direction, but it is awesome. Any direction you're expecting, I mean. But it is an awesome karate movie, awesome adventure movie. Give it a watch. The Seventh Curse. Who's it by? I forgot the name of the
I
dude.
can't remember the director's name. I know he did one other movie of note.
He's done a couple. Lam Nai Choi.
Yes.
Oh boy.
It's okay.
Ricky O is his other big one. The
So-
story of Ricky.
Lastly, I'm going to talk about the funniest movie I watched this month. It is pretty new. Came out 2019. Booksmart.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Ma.
No, dude. It is absolutely hilarious. I knew that this movie's been getting good reviews for like a minute. So I knew that it wasn't going to be like trash, but I also like the way that the comedy of my friends and I have like evolved is like it's so just fucking weird and niche. It's like hard for a movie to like play into that. Like most of the time
To
the things
match it.
most of the time the things that I laugh at in movies are things that are like not that intentional, but it's like this is a funny moment if you think about it in the context of real life.
Yes.
And then Booksmart just like somehow knew that and just like thrusted it fully in my face. I think the movie falls short and like a little bit of its like depiction of like what high school is like. I think that this is where you get the weird idea. Like, I don't know. I feel weird about like adults making movies like curated for like younger audiences, like under the guise of like trying to relate to them when like you necessarily like can't on that level.
You're not gonna have high schoolers making the movies.
I know, and that's why it's like a confliction. It's like
Yeah.
how do we do this more authentically? Because like I don't know, there was just a couple of moments where I was like, this is like not like any high school experience, and I don't think you should be like telling people that. But the way that the high schoolers are depicted, I think is really like it's really human and it's really like normal, and they're just like literally just like a bunch of like kids. It's not like it tries to move past like the superficial like bullshit that most like high school movies would put in front of you. And it is so fucking funny. Like literally like every other beat, they're like making me laugh. It opens up with them just dancing outside and they're supposed to be going to school. And I'm just cracking up because they're so awkward. And the two leading actresses, Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein.
Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein, yes.
Dever and Beanie Feldstein, which is Jonah Hill's sister, which I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Didn't know at all.
What?
Yeah.
I dropped that news on Brandon.
Oh.
Yep.
Why is everybody related to somebody? There's no way in.
That's
Yeah,
how you
dude,
get
you
it.
gotta know somebody.
Go on.
But they both do so good in the way that they physically act like their characters. Like there's a moment where Caitlin Dever's character, she's just like an awkward girl and finds herself in awkward situations and she can't like speak through them. And the way that she like kind of moves her body, the way that she speaks, it's so like, I don't know, it was so real. It was cracking me up. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, give it a watch.
All right, I'll watch it.
Ayo.
I was
Hulu?
curious enough.
It's funny.
I think it's
Hulu?
on Hulu.
I was about to say you can find all the movies. Well, not all the movies actually. You can find Knights of Cabiria and you can find To Be or Not to Be on the Criterion Channel.
Seventh Curse is on Amazon Prime. I don't know if you can watch Shame anywhere, but
You can definitely
Booksmart
rent
is on
Red
Hulu.
River and you can rent Bringing Up Baby.
I think you can rent Primer, and Burning is definitely
Netflix. We mentioned that.
Netflix, and Kiss Me Deadly though actually is
You
kinda
can
hard to
buy it
find.
on the Criterion
Yeah.
Collection
I think you have to buy it right now.
Yeah.
Or find other
or go
ways.
rent it. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's
Oh,
for rental
really?
anywhere.
No, wow.
I was looking.
a deep B pulp picture.
Yeah. So you got to buy the Criterion or find other ways. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah. Well,
All right, is that everything?
We talked about cats today, guys. We
Did
finally
we?
did it.
Doesn't even feel like
You're
it.
We
welcome.
did talk about cats.
So weird.
I know. Quarantine's got us feeling all sorts of weird ways.
Yeah, surprised that it's probably only gonna get weirder next 2 weeks because we're gonna get deeper in this quarantine hole soon.
This is
Oh,
going to be like
yeah.
a 24-hour lighthouse situation. We're all locked up in a tiny location.
Why'd you spill your beans?
This is decent.
Why'd you spill your beans?
That is better.
Okay.
Why'd you spill your beans?
Pretty good. All three.
Pretty good.
Pretty solid. Pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
Pretty good. Birthday,
Okay, movie.
birthday. Good. Larry.
Okay, I'm
Larry.
Frank.
Let's get out of here.
I'm Frank.
I'm
I'm
Brandon.
Jesse.
Okay,
I'm
hold on.
Brandon.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Frank. This is Crown Canon. Thank you for listening. After Hours next week. Back to the Scorsese.
Stay the fuck home.